What up? What up, everybody? Welcome and thank you. Appreciate you joining me here today. It's Sunday, the 13th day of November 2022. This is a replay of the Twitter Spaces conversation that I had yesterday. It went 3.5 hours, which is crazy. I had some fun. It was last night. Had a few drinks, and I was just hanging out with you folks. Normally, these are about an hour and a half, but this Twitter Spaces was 3.5 hours. So you get to hear. I had a couple great guest hosts, speakers as well. So this is the replay. I upload this to my YouTube channel. It goes into the playlist Twitter Spaces. So this will be, number 21. So I'll be hanging out here in the chat room with you folks. I'll be kind of dipping in and out. But anyway, here we are. So let me get this started, and thank you, folks. So here we go. Just give me a few minutes to get the party started. I'm doing a Spaces here. It's Saturday night. Let's see, new follower packet. There's a little noise in the background. I may have to dip in and out briefly. My wife has friends over, so please be patient. I'm going to add a couple tweets here to the Spaces. Let's go with that one. Let's do this one. All right. So if you're listening now, it's either, Saturday the 12th or it's days later, and I'm uploading this to my YouTube channel. What I do is I upload these to my YouTube channel at Ched's Trading. I have a Spaces playlist, which I upload these to for safekeeping. Check that out right now. Check out, go to Ched's Trading on YouTube. You want to check out the playlist on Masterclass webinars. That will help you learn how to trade. Check out the free version of my book. I am the author of Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. You get a free version of that on my YouTube channel. I have a new book coming out pretty soon, Trading Quotes, in the next 2 or 3 weeks. That will be available as well. The room is filling up. So listen, by the way, of course, I am a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live. Bitcoin Live is, without doubt, the best team of analysts in the world who study Bitcoin. I'm really proud to be part of that team and a founding analyst. I do it twice a week, full market update. Tom, I got my buddy Tom Dwan in the house. Let's get him up here. So listen, folks, while we are getting this started, I'd like to hear from you. I want to hear what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what's going on. Hit that button. There's a button in the bottom left, which is, like request to speak. So hit that button. I'm going to bring you up. And I got my buddy Tom in the chat room. I want to get him. Let's do it. I got him in the conversation here. Let's do it. So it's Saturday night. We're just hanging out. Tom, I have invited you to speak. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this subject. So check that. Sent invite. There's so much going on here in the market. So much has changed in the landscape here just in the last couple of weeks. So it's been quite crazy. My buddy Tom's in the house, Mr. Tom Dwan, a poker player who I admire quite a bit. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can. I don't think I've ever been on a space before.
Well, I'm honored you decided to join, man. This is Mr. Tom Dwan, the legendary, reckless poker player we've all come to admire.
What's up, man?
So what's going on? What do you think, man? So we've talked a little bit offline, but in terms of publicly, I mean, where are we at, and what do you think is going on here with this whole mess? And more shoes to drop, or like, what's the deal?
Well, so I had a funny, reflection. Like, I think if you look at a chart, you could probably, guess or deduce a lot more things than I could.
Yeah.
Right? But I do think sometimes, a chart can tell some of a story, right? And I think you maybe could read a bit more into that than I could. But I also think sometimes, there's information outside of a chart, and I know I think you're a little more chart focused than me. But I wanted to just share a reflection, which is I had basically heard that there were some issues around FTX, like probably about a week ago. It was right before 22 broke.
Yeah.
And When I heard those, I probably would have guessed maybe there was some money that was touched that shouldn't have been, that was sitting in treasuries or some shit. Maybe there was like a few hundred million gap or something, right? And I was watching that chart at 22, and that was weird. And to me, it just didn't make sense. And I'm not some chart expert. I'll trade a little bit, but I don't do it a ton. But in hindsight, I think that's just very interesting to look at. Like there was a story in that chart. If you just
Well,
go
that was the
back and look.
floor Caroline set, right? Caroline setting the floor, right? 22.
Sure, yeah, but I'm saying if you just go back and look, like when FTT started getting close to there was a story
Yeah.
in that chart, and
Yes.
I'm not sure the full details, but you combine that with some of the on-chain transfers, some of there's a story there.
There's definitely a story there, and that's what's interesting about crypto is that we've got the whole on-chain, thing going on. It's hard. There's certain things you can hide, right, and there's certain things you can't hide. We're left to kind of try to puzzle it together and try to figure out, what to make of all that. I don't know, man. I don't think FTX. I mean, obviously, I don't think FTX recovers from this. I mean, are you kind of on that in the same position?
I was very happy that bankruptcy was filed because I felt like the longer it went on, the more fraud was going to happen.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, it's really bad. The hole's really big. Like I think they've done a ton of shenanigans. So yeah, I don't think the prospects are great.
Yeah.
But whatever they were, I think there's times that bankruptcy or something can be avoided, but these guys were clearly bad actors, and that's what the bankruptcy process is for.
Yes. Yes. That's the first step, right, towards like normalcy is kind of cleaning out that stuff. But like, what's up with this hack? Did you hear anything about the hack? Like, what
No,
happened in 24 hours?
I
No.
haven't looked into it much. I drank a little last night for the first time in a week or two. I've been pretty focused the
Good.
last week. So I didn't
Good
look
for
into
you.
it that much, but people are saying it seems like it was internal,
Yeah.
in some of the chats I'm in, but
Jesus, man. All right. Well, it's good to hear from you. It's good, hang around, like, jump in. I usually just
yeah,
bring people up. Yeah.
I got to go to the sauna because I could
Nice.
use it. So, but I just wanted to throw that out there about the chart at 22 because I think it's like it's something interesting, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes the chart can show you a story, or in this case, since so much of it's going to come out, I think it can tell a story. So,
For sure, dude. Enjoy the sauna, man.
sounds good. See you guys.
See ya. All right, let's get you folks up in there. That's my buddy Tom. All right, King, I'm going to bring you folks up kind of one at a time. Please wait until I call you. Hit that button. There's a button in the bottom left, which is like a request to speak button. Like, I want to hear from you. You don't want to hear from me. We're just hanging out. I did one of these like 2 days ago, so maybe this only goes 20 minutes. You might as well take advantage and get in while you can. King Boy.
What's
What's
up,
up,
Chad?
man?
It's been a while, huh?
What's it been, like a week?
No, dude, we spoke during August, like right around 25K, and like we were discussing the various parallels in regards to price action relative to
Yep.
2018, and we're
Yes.
seeing, dude,
Yes.
like we're seeing the exact same thing play out even on a fundamental basis, like 4 years ago, you had the two biggest miners in the entire world dump their BTC on the market.
Which ones?
One of them was from Jihan Wu, Bitmain, and then
Okay. Yeah, Bitmain. I haven't heard that name in a while.
yeah, and then Craig Wright, the guy who's like fake Satoshi.
Oh, CSW.
Yeah,
CSW.
yeah, and they remember the miner wars and all that stuff, and
Oh my
like they were all
God.
being shut down left and right, and
Yeah.
now it's exchanges, right?
It's exchanges. They're fighting each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
crazy. What the hell's going on, man?
but now Chad's like the whole exchange thing is happening towards like the later half of the bear market, whereas in 2018 it all happened at once, and
Yes.
and
Yes.
one thing that I do want to mention though, when it pertains to like these platforms, like
Yeah.
Celsius and FTX and all that stuff, like it's just the result of like monetary policy getting tight, and it's just like bringing forth
Okay.
the dead bodies that were leveraged with like customer funds and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And really
Yeah.
really like it seemed like FTX was just printing artificial tokens and dumping on the market. So it's like, as far as like forced selling goes, I think this will all be resolved within like the next month or so. Relative,
Month.
I think so, honestly.
What does it mean to be resolved though? Like, is it
Resolved,
like, what
like
does that
like
mean?
like price action. Because like, this week, Cheds,
Yep.
has been, just a huge downpour of bad news and chaos. And like, price hasn't really gotten destroyed relative to the June low. So I think like this
Yeah.
isn't necessarily a capitulation event, it's a capitulating process, similar to
Okay.
like similar to late 2018, where it took us about a month to find that bottom at 3100. So like my bottom target is similar to yours. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we go back to like 11K, 12K, around there, all the way down
Mm.
towards like the 2019 point of control,
Mm.
which is at about like 9100, 9200, around that level.
Damn.
But like, to me, it's nothing like, oh my goodness, like BTC is at 12K, 11K, because I look at the chart. Whatever happens, to this exchange or that exchange, if we all sit back, Cheds, um, the apps that have gotten down are no more than startup fintech companies that are barely
Yeah.
even 3 years old, man. You know.
I mean, that's a pretty good point. That's a good point. I think it's a good point. We're talking about periphery here. We're talking about things, I mean, if FTX has been around like 2 or 3 years, I mean, does that like, why should that affect Bitcoin that much, right?
Yeah, and on top of that, Chads, like the main driver of FTX was like their derivatives platform.
Yeah.
And if we take a look at simple price action, and I'm a price action kind of guy, if we look at the 2021 cycle versus the 2017 cycle, you'll notice a lot of differences. You'll notice that like the price action specifically for BTC was a lot more like distributive. So I thought of it as like an S&P on a 3 to 4x leverage.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
if you look at it, at 2017, it was a spot driven market, and that's
Yep.
why the chart was painted so cleanly. So Ched's like, my narrative going forward, say like quarter 2 of next year, all the way
Next
to,
year.
yeah. So like my narrative for the next cycle, which I
Yeah.
believe we start in Q2 of next year, all the way through like early 2026, what have you,
Yep.
is a spot driven market. Now that we're having
Yeah.
all these players that pretty much used customer funds and use those funds to play on derivatives,
Yeah.
are going to be washed out. And I think we go back to what the market's known for, which is spot driven volatility and
Yep.
like more organic volume.
It's good to hear from you, of course. And it's such a balance between, you know, it's like a drug addict, right? Like how much of a high they need, like leverage, like is spot enough. Now I know I need 5x, I need 50x, I got a free base, now I'm mainlining, or, it's like, it's just, you know, why can't we just have like normal buy and sell, like safe custodianship and just like a slow, steady grind, right? No, we need all this like, get rich overnight type of these instruments, and it has led to disaster. And it's just it's crazy to see it kind of play out in real time. I mean, quarter 2 next year, I mean, sure. I'll be honest, man, I don't know anything anymore at this point. I feel like I don't really know anything right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm taking the perspective of like what history has shown us. And it's so odd, Chads, that this entire breakdown, like the expansion of our range, occurred exactly 18 months out from the halving.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
same thing occurred in 2018. We were 18 months out from the halving,
But you're a
and we
technician
broke
though,
down.
right? You're a technician though, right? Didn't we say that earlier? You're a
Yeah,
technician.
yeah, and
So where are we in regards to the weekly 200? I mean, if you're gonna talk to me about what we've done in the past, I mean, the other
Yeah,
the other
it is
breath.
different this time as far as like
Yeah.
EMAs. Yeah, it is a bit different.
So
I
it's a weekend
recognize that.
trend, it's a
Yeah,
weekend trend. I mean, there's no doubt it's a weekend trend. That's a fact. It's how do we deal with it,
yeah. I personally think as far as that goes, I think like Bitcoin and crypto as a whole is still in its infancy for like the 200 to have such massive significance. However,
Yeah.
however,
Yes.
however,
Yes.
I
Yes.
will say this, Chads. I will
Yeah.
say this. I think the next time that we break out of the 200 weekly moving average,
Yep.
I strongly think that that will be led by spot driven market participants and not so much leverage, and that won't occur until the next bear market. Those are just like
Yeah.
my 2 cents.
All right.
um yeah, but as far as like technicals and all that stuff goes, I pay more attention to how like other bear markets have played in crypto relative to their seasonality. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
so it's usually like late Q4 or early Q1
Yes.
when most of the damage has played out. So I think
Yeah.
like for now my strategy is pure cold storage, and
Are you
cash.
stacking here or what? Are you stacking stacks or what?
Absolutely not, Chaz. Absolutely not. Like this is very indicative of 4 years ago. If you remember, like when we broke that low, I think it was like 5.6K, and we were at sub five.
You're talking about
We
2018, right?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
we kind of
November
chilled that.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of chilled there for a couple of days
At the.
until
Mm-hmm.
we started breaking lower and lower, and we had bounces in between.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I think my biggest risk to reward for upside would be the yearly open, and what I mean by that
Yearly
is,
open. I don't like these data points. Not just like one day. Like, why are we putting emphasis on like a one data point?
well, I'm saying like the 2023 yearly open, you're potentially going to see BTC and Ethereum well over 80% drawdown from the all-time high. And I
Yeah.
think from a risk to reward standpoint on that, if we look at other years, right, where
Yep.
that's happened, 2015, 2019, I think your risk to reward over the next like 6 months, or like 18 months,
I think you're
like,
talking about 2 years better off. 6 months is who knows. I think you're probably. I think you're making the right point, but I don't think we can assume it's that quick a turnaround because of the weakening trend. You know what I mean?
yeah, I'm really only using like what history
Yeah. I
has
don't think I
shown
think
me.
history is honest like toilet paper to wipe our butt with. Honestly, I mean, I'm serious. I'm serious. I mean, the paradigm's changing, and we're seeing it. I think we just got to be careful. And I'm not saying you're not careful. I think you sound like you have a good head in your shoulders, and you'll do fine either way. But I just when I hear about the history, I start to I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. It's so new. It's been around 10 years. I don't care what it's done like the last 2 or 3 times. Like, give me a break, right? Weakening trend, never broken below the all-time high or below it now. Weekly 200 weakness. So, but hey, it's good to hear from you, man. I want to move on. It's great to hear from you, though. All right. Appreciate
Thanks,
you, man.
Chad. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, dude. Really good to hear from you. That's great. I love I can just go live and hear from you. I see folks waiting. I see Pyatt. Look at you next. Let's go with the crazy Mort. Crazy Mort. It is your turn. Thank you for being patient. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, not much. How are you doing, Cheds?
Hey, I'm really good. Thank you for asking. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm just trying to wrap my head around everything that's been going on right now.
Yeah.
It's been a little crazy.
Well, what in what sense? Tell us
Well,
about it.
I guess I guess my thought, just kind of building on what you were just talking about with King, you know, I do feel like this
Mm-hmm.
and
I
Luna.
lost you, brother.
Did you? It says I'm on. Am I still on? Am I on?
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Go ahead, please. I lost you briefly. The crazy more. Yep.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was
No,
you
my
or
wife
me.
called me. I'm like, I'm trying to have fun with my internet friends.
Oh,
So what's up?
all right. Well, yeah. So I just think that the FTX thing. I really think that between that and Terra's
Yeah.
collapse, and other situations, crypto's looking a little less desirable to your average investor right now. I
Isn't that
really
good though?
think
Isn't
that.
that good? Isn't that a good thing though? Because
I
it
don't
means
know. What do you
doesn't
mean?
that
Why
mean we're
would it be a
approaching
good
a
thing?
bottom? Because that's like what we need. Like if you've and it's great. Thank you for stepping up. Thanks for listening and thanks for joining.
Yeah.
I've been talking about for like 3 months, like we need a sentiment bottom. We need people to give up for the price to bottom. And so like the stuff you're talking about, these are like side dishes to the main course of the bottom. Like these are things you see around, you know what I mean? So like I hear what you're saying and I'm like, good. I don't know. I think about it differently. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I also think that maybe, retail isn't going to be so quick to jump back in if they were part
Definitely
of this
not. Definitely
FTX
not. But all they have to do is
collapse.
put in a floor though. We don't need an all-time high. We need a floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the floor actually
Go for it,
because,
brother.
I listen to a lot of different people. There's one guy in particular, his name's Crypto Savvy.
Yeah,
He's got a
I've never
YouTube channel.
followed him or nothing, but I feel like he's got a good rep. Just my sense is he's got a good reputation.
Well, I like him. I actually, it's kind of funny. I met him in person once. I work at Costco and I sell
Nice.
hearing aids. And
Okay.
he came in with someone, and we started to talk and just kind of
Interesting.
discovered that each other were involved in TA. He told me he had a channel, and
No
so
shit. No
I said,
kidding.
oh yeah, I'll check it out. So it was kind of crazy, a coincidence, but so I started to listen to him, and he talks about a bottom being a 95% drawdown. He talks about bubble top pattern, and he
What is
talks
it
about
called? Bluff top, you said?
a bubble top or
What's
or
a
bubble
bubble top?
pop.
What?
Excuse me,
All right.
bubble pop pattern. So he
Okay.
says Amazon, after the .com crash,
Yeah.
crashed 95%, and some
All right.
other companies followed.
Yeah.
And he has the chart drawn out, and basically to this point, the Bitcoin chart resembles almost exactly this Amazon chart.
All right.
To this
Okay.
point over the last few years, and it's pretty interesting. I'm not saying
Yep.
I agree with it 100%, but I just wondered if you thought that it's possible that you could, get Bitcoin. And I know you say anything's
95%.
possible. Yeah, but
95%.
95% from the all-time high, basically about $3,500.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's at the lowest range of all the possibilities because, you know, for and thank you for stepping up. Great question. Glad
Yeah.
you're part of the ecosystem. Supply and demand, right? And what is a
Mhm.
chart? It's just a visual representation of supply and demand where like people want to buy Bitcoin, right? Historically,
Right.
and it lets you like, how's the trend? Are we strong? Are we putting in like, what's a higher, like, what is a higher low? Like, what does that mean, right? To you, when I say higher low, what does that mean to you?
What is a higher low?
Yeah, if I say like a higher low on a chart, like, what does that mean?
I mean, I guess it just depends on the time frame.
On any time frame, it just means that there's building demand, like more people want to buy it. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yep.
Simply put, right?
Yeah.
So like Bitcoin's like head that over the long range, over the long term, right? And that's, we've been talking about the weekly 200. It's rising.
Sure.
Now we're below it. Um, we talk about, I just think it's irresponsible. And I'll say that, with great respect to Crypto Savvy, who I've seen in my replies and like my people like him and it's great. Like, but like, I don't care what he says. I don't
Mhm.
need, it's not like he's not saying great stuff, but like, I just focus on my analysis. It helps me. I can't look past all the demand from like 12K down to like 6K. There's a ton of price history there.
Mhm.
There's a ton. So to like talk about 3.5K for me is like, it's just not serious
Do you
until
think that? Oh, sorry,
until
but
you get closer, until you would get closer because you have all these established levels of demand which must be respected one at a time and worked through. Okay? I don't care what Amazon did. I just don't care. I care about what this chart tells me about where supply and demand are and momentum and all that stuff. So go ahead.
I was just going to ask, do you think that demand, from 2018, do you think that that's still relevant? Do you think the
2018,
price?
absolutely. And if we get down there, that'd be a great place to bounce from. But you'd have to work through a lot to get there.
Right.
I mean, if we get down to 2018 lows, though, like that's not good. I mean, that's not good. That'd be a really long-term, really, really bad picture because, if you get down to 2018 lows, your bounce might only be to about 12K.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's your bull run, like 3 to 12K. I think, and this is like scraping the bottom of the barrel, like 6K is like, below 6K, it's like, sell and don't look back. And we're talking about 3.5K.
Yeah.
You have to build increased demand over time. The things we understand about Bitcoin, it's scarcity. It's just all the good stuff about it. Like, there's no reason we should go back to 3K. I mean, that would be a massive, just a breakdown of price structure. I mean, that would just be horrible. And again, all due respect to Crypto Savvy or whatever, but like that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, one more question.
All right, go for it.
Say, below 10K, you say, that's a fire sale.
I'm out. I'm not saying it's a fire sale. I'm saying I'm selling.
Well, right. So because where's your
10K
level then? I mean, is it 6K for you that you say, hey, this has to be the bottom? This is 90%.
6K? No. That's a great question. So, and again, a couple things. So, it's not always about the price either. It's about like how it gets there. Mm-hmm. Is one thing you want to keep in mind because, like, I'm not dodgy and I'm not trying to be like,
No, I understand. I totally understand. I mean, if you have a precipitous drop, then things are a lot different than if you
everything's
grind down
momentum,
slowly.
right? Everything's momentum. Right. Like, if we get a V bottom, it's the V bottom. I don't know where it's going to be, but if we get a V bottom, that's the bottom, right? A V bottom, right? It's momentum. And that's always been, and I've talked about this. I'm not like sharing news with you on a Saturday night, but I've often said if wherever price we were at, 30K, 25K, 20K, we need like a massive 6, 7, 8K drop in a day to bounce from because that will mark the bottom. You need an overreaction, a snapback. You need a sharp move to break the momentum. And it's been such a persistent, ever efficiently consolidating bear force that you've needed just a massive shock drop in price to reverse that momentum, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But we're heading towards 12K. You can't look past 12K. I mean, people talk about 14K. That's too soon. That's just too early in my book. There's not a lot of 14K. 12K is where the real support matters. So that would be my thought. It's great. I'm glad you stepped up, man. I want to move on to the next guest. I'm really glad we got to talk.
Yeah, right? Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Stay strong, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Oh, did I just remove you, Payet? I meant to add you. Payet, I messed up. The next speaker. Sorry about that. Why don't you jump in and request to speak? I'm going to bring you folks up. A few of you folks up. I see some friends here in the audience. Folks, hang on. I need to refill this wine glass. So we'll do Payet next. Payet, why don't you unmute yourself? Wait for me to return in like 30 seconds and we'll be ready to go, okay?
Got it.
All right.
Hey, Jed.
All right. What up, my friends? I told my wife's friends. They're like, these people are waiting for me in the other room. They're like, what do you mean? They're just sitting in a room. They're just like, what do they do? I'm like, I told them I'm getting wine.
It gave me a chance to get a beer. It worked out great.
It's so funny. It's like two different worlds. All right. So what's going on? Talk to me.
I just kind of wanted to, you're mentioning momentum, and
Yes.
I was thinking about kind of my thesis, being its third time through bear markets, is the stage or the potential for a stage where this thing just ends up grinding lower and lower and lower with no capitulation, with no like big main levels to play. Can you talk a little bit about, what you do in that scenario, how you like try to see if that's what it is that's happening, that kind of thing, in a just long grind down?
Absolutely. Sorry about that. So go ahead, rephrase that for me. Sorry about that. I got distracted briefly.
What are the signals that you would look for to confirm a thesis that we're in a long grind down without
A long
major
grind down.
capitulation?
Weekly 200. We're in a long grind down. What do you mean? That's already confirmed.
Right. I guess from this stage now towards whatever is the eventual bottom.
So it's great to see you again. Of course, I've seen you many times. I'm glad you stepped up.
Yep.
And by now, my style, right? Horizontal levels.
Right.
I mean, we're below 18.2. We're below the June lows. So, I just look at it very binary, in a binary sense. We are above 12K, which is where I'm interested, and we're below. It's not really binary. I'm giving you a couple options, but we're above 12K where I'm interested, and we're below 18.2. We're in 17.5, the June lows. We're in this no man's land. It's very easy for me, right, to like analyze this. It's very easy for me to talk about it. Like, there's nothing to do here. You go, there's other traders who, if you're trading this, like, God bless you. Good luck. I'm not trading this. You're crazy. It's crazy. You got to let the price develop here. It's just such a no man's land, right? We just broke down out of a 140-day consolidation range. There should be no rush to trade it, and there should be no rush to draw conclusions right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. What about the rush to preserve capital?
You should be out. I mean, you should be out if your support breaks. I mean, you got to have a line in the sand somewhere. Whatever you're doing, you got to have a line in the sand, my friend, and you got to respect the line.
That line keeps getting tested and broken below.
So then it's not a line. It's not a line that way. Like, you're not in control. You have to find a way to be in control. I hate myself when I'm not in control. I can't sleep when I'm not in control. I can't have fun when I'm not in control. I can't have fun. I can't hang out with my friends and be present when I'm not in control. You have to define your risk. Don't let your risk define you. Right? Just draw lines in the sand and stick to them and live with it and say, I fucked up. I lost money, but now I'm in control again.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate you. All right.
Thanks,
dude.
Sure.
Stay strong, dude. All right, folks, hit that request button in the bottom left. I'm Big Cheds on Twitter. Listen, you have to go to my YouTube channel, Cheds Trading. Watch the masterclass playlist. Watch my interviews. Watch my market updates. Check out the free version of my book. Join Bitcoin Live. Everybody wins. Mahir.
Hello,
Mahir. It's nice to see you again.
how you been?
Dude, I'm doing great, actually. I'm doing really good. I'm on like a nice streak. I'm doing good.
Good for you. Yeah,
Thank you. How about you?
Man, that
You're
caught me
live.
off
You're
guard.
live. You're live.
Yes, I mean, you know what? I do think of the wisdom things that you say throughout my day. I'm not gonna lie to you because I'm heavily influenced by you, and
I
I
love
like
that.
it. I'll
I'll
be like,
appreciate that. I appreciate
I'll
that.
be upset, whatever. I'll be like, you know what? But Chad's sometimes he does say you're alive, and we should appreciate things more. Because
Yes, we're alive. Are you kidding me? We're young. You know,
yeah,
we're not all the same age, but we're
right,
young. We're alive. Come on now. We're not like armed. I talked to my dad. He was telling me like he had surgery and like he lost like the nerves in his hands don't work anymore. He can't button his shirt.
yeah. I
Like,
mean,
come on, man. We're not there.
right. There are bigger problems in life than being
Yes.
down a couple
Yes.
$1,000s, couple $100, whatever the case might be for whatever
Sure.
person.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So my question is,
Okay.
um, let's see. Okay, how significant? So you know how we broke. You know how Bitcoin, when it cycles, usually doesn't break the all-time high before, and this time it did.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
How big of a deal is that? I don't
It's
know
a
if you
huge
spoke
deal.
about it earlier.
It's
I
a
wasn't
huge
in.
deal. It's a huge deal. The long-term trend's broken, and we've never been. Look at the weekly chart. Like, what's a trend, right? Do you study TA? Like, are you a TA guy or FA guy or what?
So, to be honest, I know you're huge on TA, and I try to follow your steps, but I'm a little bit of both. Like, I'm not really good at one thing, but I have good understanding of a little bit of both.
How's that worked out for you?
Honestly, trading wise, like long and short, to get in trades, it works good. But I have a huge issue. I get my market greed is ridiculous. Is
Is
ridiculous.
what your market? What?
My market greed, and I know you speak
Yeah.
about it and whatnot, and I know you have a couple amazing quotes that I remember. But like sometimes I'll be like, okay, like whatever, I'll have like a $200 trade. It might be 100% return, whether it's options or whatever the case might be, right? I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
that's perfect. But then I'd be like, man, what if I put a couple thousand? What if I put this instead? And you know, it's just the greed is ridiculous, and I always want more. So I try to be happy with what I have. I did get slammed with the whole FTX thing.
No,
I
I'm
didn't have
sorry to hear that.
yeah, I didn't have money in their thing. Yeah, thankfully, but I did get like the drop
Listen,
did catch
here's
me
the
off
thing.
guard.
It's a catch-22, right? Like, um, you get in a trade, like in a trade works. Like it's this thing where like, okay, it sucks, like being a human, right? And being an emotional animal. That's what we are. We're emotional animals. We're intelligent, emotional animals. And the trade fails, and you're like, I'm horrible. I'm a loser. I'm a failure. I suck. I'm dumb, right? You think about all that
Right.
stuff. And then the trade succeeds, and you're like, oh my God, why didn't I go 100x?
Exactly.
It just
Or
never win. What is the point? If you're never going to win, what are you doing?
right.
So just you have to set tiny goals and just take it. Take a little win. Take a little win, take another little win, take another little win, and just man, just survive. Like, no, you're never gonna get over greed. Like, you need a good therapist for that. But like I haven't gone over mine. So I don't know, man. It's just being human. Um, Focus less on that than, I'd say the majority of your focus needs to be on limiting risk. Like the how much money you make and the profit taking is like less important. Like just focus on limiting your risk. If you can limit your risk effectively, just the rest will work out.
So I guess that now you got me thinking, and my biggest problem now,
Yeah.
now that I'm thinking, is,
Yeah.
for example, let's just say I sell now because we're in no man's land, right?
Yeah. Well, sold
I
what? Sold what? Sold what?
my Bitcoin.
It's a long or short? What are you talking about?
No. As in, like I bought it. Like
Oh, you
I
sold your spot. Okay.
yes,
But
spot.
what's your time horizon? Do you need it? Like, I
So
mean, if you don't need the money, why would you sell it?
right. But also let me give you a little background about me. I'm young. I do have hefty money in
Yeah.
it.
What are you, 26?
21.
All right.
Yeah, I'm about to finish college. I do have
What's your
good
degree?
accounting.
Good for
You
you.
like that? Thank you. Anyway, so I do have a decent amount. Like you'd be for a 21-year-old, it's ridiculous. So I do be buying spot like stupid in a stupid way, right? But the
Yeah.
thing is, um, I am gonna be pissed if I have like Bitcoin and whatnot, and then like out of nowhere it crashes and it dies out, and it'll be like a 6,000 thing and a 3,000 thing, and it'll be done. So, but
No,
if I
no, no,
also do
different.
get
Those
out
are
here,
different. Those are different. 6,000, 2,000 thing is not done. You're talking about,
right?
you're describing the price floor, right?
Yes, but let me say something here, Chance. Hear me out. If I do sell now, and let's just say for whatever reason, in the next month or two, whatever the case might be, it recovers and we're back in the 20 plus. I know odds might be slim, but whatever the case might be, right? I will be pissed. I'll be like, if only I just held my spot for the time being. You know what I mean? Now I got to buy back in higher. Now I'm one of those guys that's getting made fun of on Twitter that's being a sideline guy. Now I got burnt. Like, that just aggravates me.
Why? Why do you give a
Because I could
fuck
have
what
made
these
more
other
money.
people think? Who are these people? Are they your loved ones?
Of course not.
So who gives a fuck? These people, they know your name. Are they gonna buy you a drink at the bar? Are they gonna catch you when you fall down?
No, I know. Like, I don't really like communicate with anyone on Twitter. I just like spectate. I just watch everything. I follow a bunch of guys.
Here's what I'll say. And it's great to hear from you. And wish you all the best, of course.
Yeah.
If it's the bottom, it's not the bottom's not a 2-day move. It's a 2-year move. And so I focus less on catching the bottom than I do on riding the trend. And you got to fix your mind and fix your thinking that I'd rather be late to the party than show up at the wrong party.
True, and I see you said that you would wait till 22.5 or 25
Oh
plus
yeah.
to get back in. Yes.
Well, right now it's different. That was before we broke down. I'll go long over 1820. I'm long.
So the thing is, I feel like I think we would have had a double bottom thing if FTX didn't do what they did.
Yeah, whatever. And if my auntie had a whatever, she'd be my uncle, right? So
right. Exactly.
So let's move on. It's good to hear from you. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care. You too. Thank you. All right, folks. I'm Big Cheds on Twitter. I'm Cheds Trading YouTube. A lot of folks here. I'm taking more time with each caller, so please be patient. T-Dub, thank you for being patient. It's your opportunity.
Hey, Chad, appreciate you, man. You and Savvy have been very inspirational.
Who?
Savvy, Crypto Savvy.
Oh, you're the second person to mention him.
Yeah, but no, both of you guys have been very inspirational.
Is he good or what?
I think so. Realistic.
What's the deal? Tell me about Savvy. I don't know who this is.
It's not just crypto, but stocks as well. He gives a good macro picture. I mean, he's not all right, but he's definitely opposite of your typical moon boy. He sets the term. Good. Yeah, so he's been very inspirational. I'm your typical retail, guy. I'll trade once in a while, most likely swing long term. I've held up and downs. I've always taken profits.
Where are you from?
Chicago, South Side.
Oh, no kidding. All right.
And it was up until this year where finally the nerves got me. I'm like, looking at it, I've always believed in it fundamentally, adoption.
What? Bitcoin?
Crypto in general, and all these scams and
it's hard. It's disheartening, right?
It is, and finally I came to terms with it. Again, I've always taken profits, and just seeing all these exchanges going down.
It's ridiculous.
I finally cashed out. I was in stable coins even
after. Do you feel like ashamed?
No, just disappointed.
Yep.
I mean, Chad, the Bitcoin ATM in my neighborhood hasn't worked in 2 years.
What does that mean? What do you mean? Like it's literally a Bitcoin ATM and it's just like, what do you mean? Like it just doesn't work? You can't withdraw or what?
It doesn't work. I've tried.
So what the fuck's the point of it? Is it a paperweight? Like, I don't understand.
It makes no sense, And so finally I just came to terms with it. I'm like, you know what? This is nuts. Like I'm cashing everything out. My fear and what helped me with my decision is I had money spread around just because I never trusted one platform.
Yep.
I had Gemini, KuCoin, BitGet, fucking, Coinbase, and even BlockFi, credit card holder. And, when I see explosions like this, I'm like, well, I have all this money spread around, but then I use Coinbase as an intermediary. And what in case I can't get money back onto Coinbase and now I'm stuck. So I'm done. Like I just had enough. I can't, even in stable coins, so if I go back to this,
what would you need to see to get back in, my friend?
Well, when and if, and I need to see some regulation or something happen, and some realistic adoption. Like if I can go buy a beer with
on Fidelity, like what about this? If you could buy like Bitcoin and Fidelity, would you make you more comfortable?
Well, I think I can. I can buy GBTC Schwab, which is my broker.
Yeah.
But then I think that's the only way I would do it.
Okay.
discount right now. What is it, like 40% or something?
Something's going on there. It's not
well,
right.
That's lack of institution adoption for sure.
For sure.
And then, but if I do go back in, I'm gonna stick with like a GBTC or short it with like Bido. I just can't trust the space anymore, and it's sad to me because I really have high expectations and hopes.
Well, how about this though? And again, and of course, great to hear from you. I love these perspectives. Do you need to trust it to make a profit on a trade?
Well, I have to believe in it. I don't buy art because I don't believe in Kathy Wood.
Yeah, right. That's You know what? And I respect that. I think you have to. I mean, not like voting your values, but you're voting your opinion, your conscience, your feelings.
Yeah, I don't buy shit coins because I don't believe in that technology. Even though I can.
But would you trade them though? I mean, are you just like won't trade a shit coin? Or are you talking about like buying like a hodl?
Again, I mentioned this earlier. Swing trading, long term, profit taking. I'm not a day trader by any means. I'm not in and outs. You guys.
What about Sol? Do you like Sol here?
Oh no, I never trusted him. Never. And I told people this, and I told even about Luna on Twitter. I would warn people.
No kidding. Good for you.
And I hopefully I saved some people.
Well, good for you, man.
I'll tell you in December, the lady that was driving us around on a tour asked myself and my wife, "Hey, have you ever heard of Bitcoin?" Right there, I knew that was the top, and I warned her. I said, "Do not get into this." And hopefully, I've saved some people. And Savvy was, again, inspiration for that. But crazy space, and hopefully they work shit out, and that PM starts working for me. But take care, Cheds. Thanks for everything, man.
Thank you for stepping up. I'm glad you did. Thank you. All right, I love it. Like, I'm just a dude, and I got 400 people here hanging out with me. I see some friends in the chat room. Let's go with Dream Solution. You can go next, and we'll work our way through. Dream Solution. Detelia, I believe is your name, Detelia.
Hey, Chads, how's it going, man?
What is up, my friend?
Oh, just doing good. Just thought I'd scope on here and see what your kind of analysis on about a couple things here.
Go for it. You can take your shot, my friend. What can I do
for
you?
So I respect heavily on the analysis of that you called the top and stuff like that. That was pretty insane for somebody to do that. That was really good.
Thank you.
Just got one other thing here is kind of like watch super heavy H bar enthusiast and kind of what they're doing and what kind of can happen.
Pull up the chart. Let me go to the office here. I'm in the side room. Oh, my daughter's friends were like, they pulled my office chair completely in the other end of the room. So let me just get a sense here what's going on. All right, H bar, hash graph, right? Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's fun. I know, like, to me, it's all, whatever. It's just something to speculate with. But I know some of these names. All right, H bar. Okay.
Yeah, I seen a video here. I seen a video about with Dr. Lehman Bird.
Who's that?
And it's one of the guys that runs H bar, and he's kind of one of the head guys there. He was kind of saying, so like, there's got some pretty big questions here.
Chart sucks.
Yeah, it sucks at the moment for sure.
I would delete it and move on from. I'd play something else. I would immediately sell and move on. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not holding anything anymore and whatnot on it, but there's some big things that he mentions and stuff. So kind of like in one of the videos I threw in the comments here, he kind of just made like this 15-minute. He was like a big seminar and stuff, but I took like a 15-second clip about it, and he's pretty much kind of saying he's like typically the history of any type of market has an enormous spring up of thousands and thousands of companies, and then you have a crash, and then you get down to about 3 or 4 companies that continue. And that's kind of what happens like every revolution.
Yeah.
And just kind of seeing what's your analysis on.
I would assume, listen, look, here's my
thoughts.
I'm so glad you stepped up, first of all. Everyone's lying to you. Okay. Everybody's lying to you, right? The only thing you can trust is the price, because the price tells you where market people are willing to buy and sell something. That's the only thing that matters, right? Is what the open market value is. The market knows more than you and knows more than me, right? Like, we're just regular dudes. How are we supposed to know? We can't read these financial statements, and like, we didn't get like Harvard MBAs, right? We can't like figure out valuations.
Yeah.
Only thing we can do is like look at like, what can I buy and sell it for? on any given day. Like that's the only thing that matters. So that's the price.
Mm-hmm.
You're with me, right? That's the price.
Yes,
So then we
100%.
look
It's
at
the
like the
price.
trend of the price, and then we look at when that trend strengthens. We look at that trend weakens. HBAR is absolute garbage. I don't care what they say about like 3 companies survive. Like it's not going to be HBAR. It's trash. Market hates it. Market hates it. So you should hate it. You know.
The market hates it, but just kind of like the thoughts on it is just what it has to bring to the future of technology and stuff, and
That's
kind of
noise. That's talk. Those are words. Show me the
who's
price.
behind it.
Noise. None of that matters. None of that matters. The market is efficient. Everything if it's publicly known, right? It's worked into the price. That's like it's a weird thing. You stop and think about it. You're like, I don't know if I believe it or not, but like over time you'll learn. Like that's the truth. Like if you're telling me everyone else knows that this person's involved, like that's worked into the price. That's the price. What you can buy or sell it for. It's the only truth. It's the only like fact you can only work with. That's the only fact you can work with. Everything else is noise, speculation. So,
it's just,
that's just my style. Again, my style. You may be right. I may be wrong. I'm giving you my heartfelt like thoughts based on my style. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Because like I don't know, I've just been like constantly hearing like who's kind of been joining the project, and now that they're
completely nonsense.
They're open
Doesn't
source
matter.
now.
Doesn't matter. None of that matters. None of that matters. Why isn't the price moved? The price knows that. The market knows everything you're telling me. Where's the price at?
Yeah, the price is shit. That's for sure.
So that's it. The price is the like everything you're telling me are variables put into a formula and it spits out the price. That's it. It's just the price. Focus on the price. Make your life easier, right? Like you don't have time to do all this complicated analysis. You have like a life you have to deal with, a regular life, right? Like you're a dude with a family, friends, like hobbies.
Yes, I just been kind of hearing with all the utility cases that are starting to pop up.
There's no utility. It's nonsense. There's nothing. It's all talk. It's all garbage. It's all speculation. It's all a vehicle for speculation and get rich quick.
Because like they just started marketing things on it. But anyways,
doesn't matter.
I got another quick question here too.
Go for it.
This is a bigger one. Do you believe Bitcoin will get silenced at some point?
What does that mean, silenced? What you got to tell
me?
Like
as in, you know how like projects are like crashing and stuff like that, and kind of like the works. How there's rumors that Bitcoin's not really that good of a technology to a way, and that pretty much it's that it can crash and pretty much kind of go to zero because
won't happen. Won't happen. That would have happened years ago. If they them the legacy, if they were going to kill it, it would have happened before. It's already part of institutional money. It's a store of value. It's got scarcity. Bitcoin's not going anywhere, but it doesn't mean it's going to be 20K. It might be 10K or 6K or 12K or 15K, but it's not going anywhere.
Okay.
They've made it a currency.
All right, brother.
One other question is
go for it. Real quick. Go for it.
Okay, so you know how like the Bitcoin, they still don't know who the actual founder is.
Yeah.
And kind of what's your speculative around that?
Irrelevant. And it's just fun. It's just fun to like, who cares? But it's fun, but like it doesn't matter. If that matters, like I only care about the price. And by the way, thank you for stepping up. And I've been in Chicago and my dad's from the Midwest, so I have fondness for that. But who cares? It was just to talk about. I mean, I'm a price guy though. You need someone else. I don't know much about that subject. So that's just what I got to say, all right?
Okay, no, I like your thoughts on it, and it definitely makes me second guess mine and kind of reevaluate and kind of go back to the charts and see what kind of can happen and whatnot.
Listen, my friend, everything you do you need to be able to define when that idea fails. Like if you're going to put $1 into play, if you're going to risk $100, like it's based on an idea, define when that idea fails. So you can like at least pull out $80 out of the 100 or 90, right? Like don't write it to zero. Okay. So whatever you do, make it based on an idea that you can define when the idea fails. All right.
Okay.
Cheers, brother.
Okay. Cheers, man. Thanks for your thoughts.
Stay strong, dude. Be good. That's it. I love it. I hang out with you people. Smash Brothers. Smash me. Good to see you again, dude. What's going on?
Yo. Thanks for having me on. I know tough times. I got a dick to the face.
What? But I don't want to hear about that. What are you talking about? Nobody wants to hear about what you do on a Saturday night.
In the spirit of price talk.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yes, in the spirit of talking about prices, obviously, equities diverged from crypto.
That's crazy, right? That was crazy.
That was just mental. My best. I mean, I don't want to say it was one of my most profitable days ever. I was up 10% holding freaking index funds in a day, over 2 days. Sorry, it's pretty absurd considering what I was holding down to.
Yeah. A vicious snapback in equities. And not to be unexpected, just from a pure momentum standpoint, trend following standpoint. You think about like what a mean reversion might do, kind of something like that. And and I'll let you finish, of course, but yeah, you got to think Bitcoin should be 24K,
Well,
right now. Like, what's going on?
So obviously crypto did something different here, but again, looking at pairs. So again, I would say I'm a decent trader. Obviously, big fuck up here, but I'm looking at the Binance coin pair.
BNB what? USD?
BNB Bitcoin pair, and that thing
BNB versus Bitcoin. Are you trading that?
I'm not trading that. I use that. So I use pair valuations of like different crypto pairs, basically as my like Dixie for the crypto world, if that makes sense. Like
how many though? Like how many? Like I will look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin at key levels, but I generally recommend people don't do that.
Don't do the whole pair thing.
Yeah, because you're gonna it's like you're making everything harder on yourself. Like, because in the end of the day, you have to trade based on the four corners of the chart in front of you.
Yep, that's fair. But again, I'm just thinking out loud here. This is a concept.
Go for it.
Looking in hindsight, that's
all we got.
That exactly. We only have the history of the price, and looking at it.
Go ahead. BNB BTC. Yeah.
June 18, June 19, October 20 were like local or all-time highs, and each and every time BNB BTC dumped.
0.012.
Exact 0.002.
It's what, the ascending triangle that formed from 2021 to 2022, or are you talking something else?
It seems to occur every year, or every time the BNB value skyrockets, the thing gets dumped to hell, and as it gets dumped to hell, Bitcoin starts to run. And the last time that really happened, well, it's happened a few times in recent memory. November of 21, May of 21.
November 21. Okay. I'm just looking at the chart. I mean, all right. All right.
You see what I'm saying? And then Bitcoin started to freaking launch for the second time, right?
April, May. Okay, yeah. I mean, so I just see relative strength to Bitcoin, my friend. First of all, this is the thing I say in Bitcoin Live, and I talk about this, like, I don't need BNB. I don't need like / BTC pairs. Like, I have the Bitcoin chart in my brain. You know what I mean? Like, I look at it like 17, 18 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I just see is I observe the ascending triangle in the BNB BTC pair. And so that's a bullish continuation or bullish consolidation pattern. And what that just shows is over time, BNB has been stronger than Bitcoin over time and has continued that trend. And whereas, if I was to sound like intelligent, I'd say whereas Bitcoin, stumbled in November 2021 and rolled over, BNB did not.
Correct.
And it continued to express that relative strength versus Bitcoin, essentially breaking out of that relative strength pair, in July of 2022, as Bitcoin was trying to bottom 17.5. It's just a better bet long term, BNB. I mean, in this trend.
You wouldn't use that as an indicator, and I don't know if there's some.
No, definitely not. Before you even ask the question, the answer is no. I only care about price versus support and resistance. I don't look at total market cap. I don't look at Bitcoin dominance. There's better traders than me that do, but this is what I do. I just look at the price versus support and resistance. I gotta say, it's worked out pretty well. I feel like I've been pretty good with my my analysis. I don't look at that stuff. I don't want to look outside the chart. I don't want to make it harder on myself. I don't want to add more variables. It's the price. Does it hold support or not? Like, why are we getting complicated?
Right. So that makes. I'm just throwing spitballing, seeing like I'm trying to put this picture in my head of.
Yeah, let's hear Crypto Chase.
Yeah.
Crypto Chase, a good buddy of mine, is excellent follow on Twitter. Do you have any? Can you hear us, Crypto Chase?
Yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, bro? Do you have any thoughts in that kind of that topic in terms of like that relative strength of BNB and like in terms of like whether you might that might influence you in like a BTC trade based on what BNB is doing?
Well, I would say that BNB is sort of an anomaly to where it's, you know, it has like that hard backing by CZ. So
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of general thoughts, right? Like I'm not concerned with alts whatsoever at the moment because, I mean, I guess I don't. I guess I'll get into the whole thing for a second, but the way I see it is that, you know, we had like the perfect storm with the COVID bull run, right? You have people in their home, everyone getting a free $1,400 or however much you were getting. You know, you had crazy accessibility through Robinhood and all these different access points, and now you're hearing stories about how, you know, Almeida was potentially spoofing us up to 69K. I just don't see, and now on top of that, you have this whole drama. I don't see that storm coming back. Plus, you had the Federal Reserve with, you know, basically quantitative easing, QE infinity. Um, it was like the perfect storm to get the price really high, and now you have everything working against price. So alts are not on my radar whatsoever.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think you know, as a community, the crypto communities, you know, going through this time together. But I have a feeling that within a week or two, you know, things are going to calm down a lot, and you're going to see what really remains. Because I think a lot of people right now are coming in these spaces and talking with each other, and I usually don't do these at all.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, come 2 weeks, come a month from now, you're going to really start to see what the landscape looks like, and in my opinion, it's pretty ugly.
You think we're maybe starting to form a bottom, or it's going to take some time? What do you think in terms of sentiment and price?
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I think that we need to test 12.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, at that point, you know, you got to zoom in and you got to say, hey, look, is 12 support or is 12 going to flip to resistance?
Right.
And, you know, yeah, we just take it from there, you know, sort of take it one level at a time.
I like
that. In terms of my overall view at the moment, it's, you know, I've been here. Crypto since early 2017, trader 2016. And this is probably the first time that I've ever felt like not that safe in the space and that things just don't look very good compared to what I've previously experienced throughout the years.
It's kind of hard to and by the way, it's good to talk to you, and I'm really glad you joined. It's hard to properly put into place what has just happened, right? With SBF, and like it's like, you know, like what happens when the referee has been cheating? You're like, what? What do you mean the referee's cheating? The other team? No, the referee was cheating. Like it's hard to, you know, that's how much trust we put in SBF. Smash, any thoughts? I do want to, you know, before we move on, do you have any thoughts? And Chase, go ahead, respond to that, please.
I think people are gonna, you know, the trust is completely lost. How can you have someone who was supposedly, you know, lobbying with the U.S. government, standing next to politicians and whatnot, and 2 days ago he's telling you that all the assets are backed 1-to-1, and then 2 days later he's bankrupt. He says FTX US is not affected, and then 2 days later you can't withdraw from FTX US or whatever is happening with that. It's just crazy. I think the trust is lost, and I think that a lot of people will, you know, I guess your hardcore people can go into self custody and DEX and whatnot. But as you come to your more normal and your retail environment and trying to bring new people into the space, I mean, good luck. I mean, I think everyone's just going to look at it as a scam for quite some time. And they go, you want to go in and get rugged by Luna, or do you want to get rugged by an exchange, or what's your choice? How do you want to lose your money?
I wish I could argue with you, but there's no good argument to take, and we're in a position where. That's a great point. Don Alt put out a tweet. I responded to it. My colleague Bob Lucas replied to me, where I had asked the question, and it's the catch-22. How do you on-ramp all this new retail if, like, where can you even keep the money? We got to figure that all out. Smash BB, what do you got, buddy? I do want to move on. I'm good to hear from you. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a variety of opinions, but as far as this particular space is concerned, I share the exact same emotions everybody else is feeling. I mean, this is nothing like anything I ever expected in hindsight. I totally saw this coming, obviously 2020. But all this being said, this isn't unprecedented in this space. You had Mt. Gox however many years ago. You had Quadriga in Canada. You had all sorts of other smaller exchanges go under. So this isn't, again, unprecedented. It's unprecedented in scale, but this is nothing new to this space. Centralized exchanges have always been shady. I personally have felt uncomfortable trading using Binance all year. It wasn't the exchange I expected to go down, which is really, really terrifying. At one point, I had 30% of my assets distributed across the various exchanges. I consolidated into Binance, and recently I went on chain because things just didn't feel right. Like when things hit a low, like even in traditional markets, when the tide comes out, it doesn't take long for the guys that are way over their heads to basically get blown out. Like as we saw here, there just wasn't the liquidity wasn't there. As soon as enough FUD came out, there was a bank run and the guy went under. So it's truly, I don't want to say it's a black swan, but it wasn't something that I imagined happening. But again, hindsight 2020 makes perfect sense. We're in a deep bear. This was sort of the what's it called, the straw that broke the camel's back. Again, in the content, in the what's it called, the spirit of the space. In my eyes, this is like the bottoming out sentiment. Like if there wasn't a flush, this was the in there could be other things that are gonna happen, but that's just how I'm feeling. And again, I assess my emotions as well as the price on the chart, and this has been the one time I haven't been comfortable holding anything, which is I think an indicator in itself, but not financial advice. I'm just expressing for what it's worth, again, in the interest of the context of this conversation.
I appreciate you so much. It's good to see you again. I hope you join the next spaces. I will say, I think we've certainly begun the sentiment bottom. I mean, there's no question, and I track sentiment just because it's fun. And we've started the bottom. I don't know where it's at, but good to see you, dude. Really good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, too, dude. What's up, Chromage? Nice to see you again. Chromage, what is up?
What's going on, sir?
Thanks for hanging out again. What's up?
Anytime. This is kind of like a two-part question.
All right, part one would be my answer is pizza.
Heard. How are the margaritas?
Part two is Seinfeld. That's my answer. So,
as far as a V bottom and a double bottom,
we need a V bottom. We really need a V bottom. I think we just really need one here. I mean, look at March 2020. I mean, that was a clean bottom. Very few bottoms are cleaner than a V bottom. But go ahead.
So the question kind of relates to the double bottoms, like looking at ETH specifically as well.
All right, I've got it in front of me right now.
ETH isn't close to its bottom it had back in June of 800, whereas BTC cracked it. So if BTC,
you're talking about relative strength is the concept you're talking about, yeah.
If BTC wicks down to 12, 13, and ETH down to 8, and they both reverse, isn't ETH in a stronger position?
Absolutely. I mean, not only from the relative strength standpoint, which you're pretty well articulated, and by the way, that can be tracked based on an ETH BTC pair, which is an uptrend, which we've talked about. So there you go. But not only that, but just a percentage standpoint, right? So it's higher beta. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ethereum's higher beta than Bitcoin. Like, I'm a terrible fundamental analyst, but I know that much at least.
Okay. The second part of the question relates to the ETH BTC chart. And
okay, fire.
I think back, I come from traditional markets. So I think back to when Amazon or Apple or all these companies, they were in specific trends and specific charts. And then all of a sudden Amazon went from just an e-commerce to also cloud storage. And so the chart kind of became useless. So
no, the chart's never useless. The chart tells you when to apply your risk. It tells you when to increase your risk or to decrease it. Like, The chart is never useless. Like I can't even like if you gave me peyote, I couldn't even like conceive of a situation where the chart's useless.
Useless, wrong word, but wasn't factoring in the new growth opportunity, I guess.
It's supposed to predict it now. Like the whole point of a chart is to identify a trend and tell you when that trend will strengthen or weaken. So your cloud storage presumably leads to the price recapturing a lost support level or breaking through resistance, and then you go long. Like, what are you talking about? Chart does everything. It has everything you need. I don't care what happens outside of it. Like, it allows you to apply your risk. I don't care with cloud storage. Those are words. Show me the price breaking resistance. Like, that's what matters.
Okay. Well,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think if you let yourself believe that, thank you for letting me say this, and I'll let you finish. But if you let yourself believe that there's like something the chart couldn't have seen, you know what I mean? It's like you're giving away power. Why give away power? Like, you have the ability to identify the fact that like Amazon can't break through 700. It rejects, but now it breaks through it. Okay, I'm long. Like, you have the ability to use what the chart to amplify or to lessen your risk.
Okay.
You know do you hear what I'm saying?
I do.
Like, don't take away the power. Don't take away the power from yourself. Don't give it to someone else. Don't give it to these mysterious forces. That's bullshit. You're in full control every time.
Okay, that makes sense actually, because even if what I'm thinking is true or not, the chart would say it first.
That's it. That's all we have. I mean, you got to enter an order, right? And there's a bid and an ask. Like, that's the only truth. It's the only truth. Everything else is just bullshit. You look at the election. There's all this in 2020. The election we just had, the midterm in U.S. There's all this talk about what was going to happen. Then you have what actually people vote. Like, that's the price. That's the truth. Like, just talk is talk. You know, just go with the price. Let it be your guide.
Okay.
All right. Cheers, brother. Good to hear from you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Iron Giant. Nice to see you again. What's going on, dude?
G'day, man. How you doing?
Good day, mate. It's nice to hear you. Are you in Australia, mate?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
It's nice to hear from you. How you been?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Just kicking back, watching the market.
How do you kick back? How do you kick back? That's what the people need to know.
I can kick back a lot of ways. I love to sit outside, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Play with my dogs.
How many?
In front
You
of
got two?
I've got
two or three dogs?
2 dogs.
Okay.
They're good dogs. A Rottweiler, German Shepherd. They're good.
All right.
Couple of questions, if you don't mind.
We'll start with the first one. We'll see if I might after that.
Yeah, all right. Let's do that then. My question regards shorting at support. I tend to struggle a little bit with it, and I just wanted to know what your rule is, I suppose, at shorting broken support. When is it
shorting broken support? Okay.
Yes.
So listen, and Sean, by the way, you got to let me control your unmuting. I don't know if, first of all, make sure Twitter has access to your microphone. That's not you, Iron Giant. There's just another person. I'm gonna remove him. You got to fix that. Make sure Twitter has access. I'll bring Jimbo up. So listen, so shorting, like, it's a great question, right? So like when I short something, and maybe I'd love to hear Crypto Chase his thoughts in this. Like when I short something, I want to short something that just bounced. Right? Like ideally, right? Like I want to fade a move. Or like I want to have a well-identified downtrend that just went like a daily lower to upper Bollinger Band move. You know, and I'm looking at I see a shooting star, Gravestone Doji, upthrust, and I'm interested, right? That's what I'm looking to short. When you short like just a breakdown, I mean, like these breakdowns aren't created equally because like how well defined is the level that's the breakdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's a really well-defined level, fine. But like there's all this ambiguity. So that's a big factor in terms of you're asking me about shorting a breakdown. I love shorting a retest of broken support. I mean, there's just nothing better.
Sure.
What do you think, Chase? Can you hear me, Crypto Chase? What do you think?
Yeah, man. So, yeah, for me, it's really seeing an impulse move through a support level. And then typically on the retrace, you know, you can get your short position in. I mean, I could just direct you to the Bitcoin daily right now. and just take the swing June low. I mean, I typically trade lower time frame, but just for the
What's
sake
lower
of,
time frame, Chase? What's lower time frame to you?
For me, typically anywhere between 1 and 15 minutes. So I'll get my levels from 1 hour and 15 minutes, and then work into the 5 and the 1. But anyway, you could go to the daily chart right now on Bitcoin, mark out the June low, and then you can see that you had a clean impulse break through the support, right? You can see that big daily candle closes through, and then look at the retest, and you get a perfect short right off of there. I mean, has it gone to any high level of profit yet? No, but you could have at least, gotten, let me just mark it out real quick. If you had taken that right there.
18.1, about like 18.120 where it rejected kind of that range? 18.150?
I was talking about the swing low from June, so it was at 17.6.
Yeah.
And when it goes down through there, you get that strong close through, and then it comes back up, it retests. That would be your short right at the 17.6 level.
I see.
If you put your stop above basically where the impulse move came down, right now you'd be at about 1.5 risk to reward.
Where's that stop, Chase? Like 18.5? You mean the candle that started it?
Yeah, exactly, right around there.
Yeah, I mean that's reasonable. I mean you're setting yourself up to not get like whipsawed too much, right? Am I getting a sense of that? Right?
Yeah,
You're trying
so
to catch.
very basic short idea there, right? I think you could probably zoom in and probably dial in something better, and also keep in mind that you had some heavy volatility during that time, so it may have not been the best thing. But if this thing does keep moving down, and that 17.6 level was your defined risk, and where you thought that it would come back and bounce and get rejected from there and go lower, say to 12K. Well, now all of a sudden you're talking about 5 or 6 risk reward if you're looking on a higher time frame.
That's it. He's defined his risk. He said, this is where my idea is right. This is where it's wrong. I'm giving myself a little bit of like wiggle room to avoid the chop. Right. And he's not going to, and I'm not going to speak for him, but I'm trying to, he's not going to sit around if the idea is wrong. If he's short, he's not going to hold to 20K. I mean,
no, of course.
That's excellent. I think that's good. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does a little bit. I actually got stopped out on that trade. I shorted pretty much the break of that and moved my stop into profit during the day, but eventually got stopped out. Similar to ADA as well. I don't know if you want to have a look at that.
I'm happy to. What you want, ADA? Okay. I mean,
I was looking at a big descending triangle. And shorted that breakdown. When was that? Sort of on the 11th, 10th of October.
Sure. It bounced up. You had a couple pullbacks. It's called a pullback. Yes. A bearish retest of broken support. You had it, end of October, and you had it kind of early part of November.
Yeah.
And now you're back below it. I mean, you're biased short in this, with no question.
Without a doubt.
Yep. All right, brother. It's good to hear from you. All right.
One more question, if you don't
mind. Go for
it. This one's a quick one. I've read all your books.
All of them. Did both. You read both my books?
No, sorry, not the books that you've authored. I've read the Trading Wisdom, but the books.
Okay, good. Oh, good.
Advocate for your newbie follower packet.
Yes.
Robert Strabaka, the
wonderful textbook, classical charting.
Steve Nissen. I've just about finished the Peter Brandt book as well.
That's a really good book, but I was surprised how easy to read that was. It was very easy to read.
I'm a big fan of it. I've got a Mark Minervini book that I've got lined up next to read through.
He's pretty popular from what I can tell.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him, but I've seen that as well.
Me neither. So what's up? What's your last question?
My last question is, can you recommend me another trading textbook or
have you read Bollinger and Bollinger Bands?
No, I actually have been eyeing that one up, and it's on my Amazon
I mean,
right
the
now.
guy's Bollinger. I mean, you got to give respect. It's the Bollinger. So
yeah,
all right,
beautiful. Good on you, bro. I appreciate it.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for stepping up. Just hanging out with you folks. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's November 12th, 2022, Saturday night. I got Crypto Chase hanging out. Let's go, Tasty Curry. Nice to see you again, dude. What's going on?
Hi, Jeds. Thanks for taking my question.
Sure. What's cracking tonight?
So I had a question about Solana for the next bull run.
The next bull run? I mean, when is the next bull run?
Anywhere between 3 to 6 years. I don't know.
All right, that's reasonable.
I feel like Solana's facing an extinction event almost. As its main benefactor, SBF, is just kind of has been ostracized from the community. and there's 1 billion.
Unfairly ostracized?
Oh, not unfairly, no.
Okay. I'm just trying to get like a sense of what we're talking about here.
There's also $1 billion worth of Solana, which is 20% of its market cap, that's in the bankruptcy proceedings.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you think that Solana still has, like, I guess, a future.
I don't have a great answer. I don't know. I really don't. Nobody knows, unfortunately. It's one of those things where I'd love to give you a really good answer, and I just don't have one. And I know what you're asking, and you're just like a billion people in your position with like the right question, and there's just nobody with the right answer. Even the most well-intentioned people don't know. Like I consider myself to be, in the top tier of technical analysts because I care and I try to be really good at that. And you put me in a room with like the top tier of fundamental analysts, they don't know either. This has got to shake out. I mean, what does it mean to survive? As long as it's still traded, it's got an actively traded market. It's liquid and it's like over like $5. To me, like in terms of my experience, that would be a success because I've seen so many things go from 0 to 100 back to like to nothing and like with no volume and be delisted. So for me, like the bar might be lower than you. I will say like with Sol, like I remember people telling me about the fundamentals when it was like $200. Like fundamentals is it's just talk, right? At the end of the day, it's price. And so is there an actively traded market? Will people keep using it? I don't know. I don't know the answer because I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on with like I understand at least that like there's like these sub markets that rely on Sol, like these sub markets to Sol, like Sol's at a certain layer, and there's these other things that rely on Sol. But like I'm not the right guy to speak in that. I just literally put my nose into the price, and I try to be really good at that. So. I just see a downtrend. The Sol chart's terrible. I wouldn't want to hold this. This is a chart I'd look at. I want to short on every bounce. But like, will it be here in a year? Will it be doing a year? I really don't know, man. I'm sorry. I mean, that's all the best I got for you.
Okay, yeah, I just noticed that Sol had a really high beta compared to even Ethereum, and that's why I was really interested in it.
Well, how long has Ethereum been around for, and how long has Sol been around for, and like, what basis do you have to even make that comparison? Do you know what I'm saying?
Just based on
yeah.
Just based on market movements for the last 3 months. That's
Well,
the only
whatever.
data.
But Ethereum's been around for like 10 years, and Sol's been around for 2 years, and the whole market is brand new. I like trust nothing. And like everything I say to you is like what I would have wanted to say to myself in my early trading career. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I trusted everything. I believe everything. And it's all a lie. It's all a lie. Only thing is what you can control, your risk. That has to be based on some idea and the ability to define like when that idea is wrong. You know what I mean? I just got to focus on what you can control. I don't know, man. That's the best I got for you. It's good to see you. I know you've been up several times. I'm glad you stepped up tonight.
Thank you.
All right, dude. Cheers, bro. It's good to see you, man. All right. And again, Chase, you can step up anytime. I'm not, if you have something you want to say on any of these topics, just jump in. Otherwise, I'll move on. Go ahead. If you wanted to say anything, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just chilling for the most part. I'm watching UFC and listening to everybody. But I would say Sol. I mean, I'm not an FA guy either, but I would say that Sol needs to maintain its community and seems to have a decently strong community. Anytime,
Yep.
I don't really care either way. But anytime I've ever shit talked it whatsoever, even on a meme, I get attacked. So the community seems decent. But at the same time, it's you got to look at the overall macro, right? Things are, still going to be grim going into next year with the Fed, and that's going to, also affect Bitcoin and F price. And if the prices on the main cryptos are not performing well, then you're not going to have like random altcoins running while everything else performs poorly. So you need that community to stay strong for until whenever that next run or moment of hype is.
That's it, man. It's a great way to put it. It's like a bear, right? A bear goes and hibernates for the winter. They know the spring is coming. It's just a question of how long that winter is going to be. I think it's going to be Jimbo next. Jimbo Bitcoin. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for waiting. Everyone listening, thank you as well. Big Chads on Twitter. Check out Crypto Chase.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me okay?
What's going on, Jibbo? How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I was just going to chime in, make it kind of fast. I heard some people talking positive about Crypto Savvy, and I think, I don't want to badmouth anybody, but this guy was calling for like $4 Litecoins and $1,000 Bitcoins at the end of summer 2020. So I think it's just maybe people, when somebody's ultra bearish and calling for mega bearish targets for years, and they finally start to happen, I think people, then attention gets turned up. But I think comparing him to you is no justice to you at all. So I just want to say that
you're too kind. But first of all, I've never heard of him. I've heard of him. I'm not saying that. I've definitely heard of him. But maybe
I got to be realistic.
I get caught up. I can get caught up. Like you're being really nice to me, but I can.
No, I'm really not. I'm actually just being realistic to the other guy, because he's God. I mean, he's just it'd be like calling Carl the Moon a good
fair enough.
A good guy to follow.
What else?
Sure.
What else can I do, brother? While you're here, is there
Yeah. So I was just looking. So for me, I'm just looking at. I'm a line chart guy. I don't know. I know, because I don't trade short term. I'm pretty much.
Wife called me. You gotta try again. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't use candlesticks at all. I just use line charts. I'm a macro guy.
Nothing wrong with the line chart, man.
And when I look on the line chart here,
Bitcoin?
I like on a weekly and a monthly on the CME and for spot, I just don't see any way how we bottom without going down into the, for me at least, around the 13 to.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been talking about this since March. You break support, it's obvious, but
well, I felt like we had a little hiccup there where if we would have stayed above the, maybe the 18 to 19K region, it could
prior high. But it was such a quick data point. It wasn't logic. It wasn't likely to be the line in the sand. I mean, look at in courtroom, they say the preponderance of evidence. If you look at where the beef is, it's around 12K. I mean, look at the highs of March 18th, the highs of March 18th, the highs of July 2019, and the highs of September 20. It's right there at 12K.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, I'm gonna front run it probably. I mean, I'm just looking at my risk reward. I don't mind being a couple grand wrong on every Bitcoin, or maybe even up to $4,000 or something like that. It's not a big deal for holding for years.
Buy down to $4,000? Would you just kind of add down, or what?
Oh, no. So I think you mistook what I said.
Yeah.
So I'm saying I'm willing to go negative on 4K per Bitcoin that I purchased.
Okay.
I'm not saying no. If it goes down to 4K, I think the space is done. that's my
what's your long? I hear you in 12, 11, 12, 13K, but where's that idea wrong? Just for the sake of conversation.
I would say. I'm not sure at that point. I haven't really analyzed where I'm wrong yet, because I don't think it would crater below there straight away. I think you'd have a lot of time to kind of maybe either if you wanted to sell bounces, that's fine. I don't think it's just gonna crash straight to 6K, 7K, 8K.
I totally agree.
I think there's gonna be big bounces along the way. So
yeah.
But I think maybe if it stays under 7K for quite a long time, I don't know. But I think anything kind of around that area in the space is pretty much done, or taking years and years to get back.
We don't want to be below 12. I mean, I agree with you, and it's great to hear from you. I'm glad you stepped up. I personally don't want to see it below 10K, just because I enjoy doing what I do. I'd like the market to be stronger. So,
and real quick, one last kind of question I had, and maybe you know about this, maybe you don't, is Michael Saylor's liquidation point. I wonder, do they just have to wick it there for him to get kind of?
I don't know, but I assume he's smart enough to play a couple tricks. He's not going to get outplayed easily. He's gonna do something.
Well, I think even if his company went bankrupt, that dude would just say he lost the keys or something and burn them all. I don't think.
I know, right? All right, brother.
All right, cool. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Edge Hunter. Nice to hear from you, Edge Hunter. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've listened to a couple of these. First time.
Where you at? Where you at, Mr. Edge Hunter?
I am in on the coast of New England, and
up in Maine. You're what, mid coast Maine?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Of course I did. I'm not my first rodeo. What are you, like, just north of Portland in Falmouth?
Hey, wait a minute. You got a spy on me?
I have like stupid intuition. I can't even tell you why, but I have like stupid good intuition.
Have you been up this way before?
Absolutely. I have an aunt who lives in Freeport.
Oh, wow.
I'm up by LL Bean, like, not that, once in a while. So I know exactly where you are.
That's close. We're actually going over there tomorrow for lunch and a game of pickleball, believe it or not. So small world, brother.
Very cool, my friend. So talk to me.
Yeah. I've listened to a bunch of your videos, and I really appreciate, I want to say I'm not trying to kiss the ring or anything, but what you've been saying about price action tonight, and Chase as well. I mean, it's just pure gold, and it's taken me a long time to really appreciate that premise, that just assume everything's baked into the price.
Yes.
And have your point, have your exit, have your stop, and have your take profit figured out before you go in and just do that and be a robot. And man, I've gotten sucked into so many narratives where you have this but in your head, and
yes,
and it's just, that thing will kill you. That thing will kill you. So
right. You're so right. Yeah,
there's so much freedom to become a price trader, and I mean, there's so much to learn, and but I wish I discovered. I found different people I was following when I got in 2017, screwed around, followed it 18, 19, wasn't in too heavy. I've had day jobs through this whole time, so I haven't really been able to focus as much as I would have wanted. And then I finally started finding guys like you and Chase and SC and XO, and I mean, Donald, people, Maine, Trader Maine, all these guys that, I mean, there's just like such pure gold here that you learn to just trade price, and you learn to understand, and you learn to just have faith in your stock.
The market is so much more mature now than 2017, because you've got, guys like that you mentioned, Crypto Cred. There's libraries of really good free resources now that weren't around, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's there, and so that's the thing. It's like people have to realize you're gonna get out what you put in.
Yeah.
You gotta, if you work hard, you're gonna get something pretty good out of it. And that's why I put out that tweet. If you spend more time looking at chats than charts, your system is broken. Work on those charts.
Yeah.
Don't work in the chat. Don't let people tell you what to play. Like, you find opportunity, let the opportunity come to you, hit you in the face, and then you trade.
Yeah. I mean, I had a great night on Friday night where I had 3 shorts going, and I just learned, like, how all you guys have been talking about, adapt to the market conditions, and remembrances of a stock operator. I mean, I've read that a couple of times over the last few years. Just, that adaptation. So I started, like, drilling down to these lower time frames, and whereas before I'd say, all right, I'd sleep on, I set my stop and I'd go to sleep and wake up in the morning and I'd have a small loss. But if I had just said, let me take profit, let me drill down to the lower time frame and work what the market's giving me, it's made all the difference. But it's real. I mean, I feel like I'm finally starting to have my own system from, pulling together just mainly, the basic concepts that you guys talk about.
You've got to, without confidence, you have nothing. You literally have nothing in trading. I mean, let's just simplify it. If you don't have confidence, you got nothing. You're going to lose money. So it takes time and experience. You're finding your way towards confidence, and that's good to hear.
Yeah, no, and speaking, that's a beautiful word segue for what I wanted to ask, because when you don't have confidence that you can have, a little bit of size on an exchange to trade, then, you don't even want to trade. It's like, this whole thing that's happened this past week, and I had a few bucks. I had a friend that built an algorithm for trading ample forth on FTX because you didn't have the you didn't have the adjustment in the amount of coins in the perps contract, right? So it was a pretty cool trade, and it was a moneymaker. And so I'd taken all my money off FTX and I put some back on to work with that algorithm. And the very week I did it, boom.
Brutal.
Yeah, I know. It was just like Murphy's Law. But it wasn't a lot of money. It's fine. It's a small scratch. I can let it go. But that experience has made me want to gravitate
sharper. It's made you sharper.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is it's made me want to gravitate back over to perhaps like trading the SP 500, which I know Chase has been doing a lot and talking about the benefits of. It's traded clean and all this over the last several months. But here's the thing: if you've got a day job, do you guys think you can still trade like ES minis or whatever, the future contract, like before 9 or after 4, and still have decent trading action? Or do you need, if you want to trade, equity futures in U.S. markets, do you need to be trading it, during normal, market open hours?
Chase, what do you think? Do you want to speak to that?
Well, I would say it really depends on sort of what time frame you're on, right? Like you can work with the ES chart and take a daily trade or take a trade based off the 4 hour, or maybe even the 1 hour or something. But obviously, if you're working low time frame, yeah, you're going to want to be sitting there during the active trading hours during the day. But there's nothing wrong with, as long as you are on a brokerage that where you can have your, your entry, your stop, and your take profit all, triggered together. Essentially, it's like an OCO, one cancel other order. As long as you can do that, then yeah, you could play a daily level. It's no problem. It really just comes to the point where I think for a lot of people, ES with a proper brokerage, obviously you could trade MES for smaller size, the micro ES. But for ES in general, if you're taking like a trade on the daily time frame or something, you might be talking like a loss of $600 or $700 for a gain of $3,000 or something. Those swings might be too big for some people. Obviously, you can go down to MES. But yeah, to answer your question, I would say that as long as you're on the, if you're working with daily or 4 hour levels or something, yeah, I don't think you need to be there necessarily during the day, as long as you're obviously your stop and your take profit and everything set ahead of time.
So don't some of these futures trade like 24/7? Like, I mean, I've heard of some guys trading the pre-market. Like, would you not be comfortable trading those? Is liquidity too thin at that time, or?
Well, it's definitely not. It's definitely not too thin. I think so. Those are like ES is some of the most liquid markets, unless you're trading some crazy multi-millions or something. Then maybe I don't know, but I'm not trading anything that crazy.
No.
So I would say yeah, you could trade pre-market, you could trade overnight. I just don't think that sometimes the volatility is not necessarily there. Sometimes you'll see that it's sort of just moving sideways. But I do think volatility usually picks up pre-market on like US East hours. Like if you're there at like 7 to 8:30 or 9 a.m. ish, like right around there, you should get some activity. But yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on it.
I appreciate it. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. It's a great question, and thanks, Chase. Good to have you, man. David, what's up, David? Thank you for being patient. What is going on, David?
What's up, everyone? How's your Saturday night going?
Chilling.
Yeah, my kids are sleeping, so it's a nice.
That's an achievement. Like that's like I just beat the game. That's like a big achievement.
Yeah, daylight savings totally screwed everything up.
Right.
They came in so early.
I know, right? So what's going on, dude? What's going on?
So I know, what's his name? Crypto Chase mentioned it briefly, and there's some stuff on Twitter about SBF and how he was spoofing orders from when the move from 28 to 69 was, in hindsight now, seemed it was really inorganic demand and really wasn't there. And
who knows? I don't know. Was it SBF or was it like Sailor? Was it, who knows? Like whatever. I mean,
Yeah, I'm purely going off of, rumor and shit on that. Just want to say that. I mean, there's been a lot of crazy information thrown around this week, so I was sort of just rambling a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I read the same stuff too, and I know like that stuff's like rampant in precious metals and the commodities, and I know you just trade price, but what happens if if the price is not real? It's just like inorganic demand that's just driving the price off.
Well, the price is always real if you take your profit. I mean, the price was real to me, right? I saw it go up to 55, and I said, okay, it's time for me to start layering out. Saw it go up to 65, kept selling. So, I mean, even though they're scumbags, right? If they did spoof it up, thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, like you're either hitting buy or sell. You're opening a trade or you're closing it. Like you're deciding to venture risk. And Chase is talking about just taking advantage of the fact that who cares why the price. I'm long and the price is going up, so I'm sliding my stop loss up. Deeper in profit each time. And the beauty of being a chart technician is you don't need to care why the price is doing what it's doing. Like leave that for the people who are going to spend all day speculating. The narrative spinners. I mean, you have to apply your risk based on an idea, and you have to be able to identify and articulate when the idea fails. Chase, does that make sense? Is that what you're saying in some sense?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm definitely on board with the whole, price is king narrative essentially. And I mean, I don't think narratives necessarily hurt, but I mean, for me at least, before I log on Twitter or anything, I do my own charts. I mark out my own charts. If I have any trades that I want to take immediately, I set those into action. And I don't log on Twitter and look at someone else's analysis and say, oh well, it's time for me to. I better close this. I better just market close this out of panic because someone else disagrees with me. You're never going to get better that way, and you're never going to improve on your own. So yeah, I don't necessarily care about the narrative too much. I just mark out my own charts before I hop on and see all the bullshit and go with that.
That's such a great point about not letting other people's opinions get in the way. Big Chonas, what are your thoughts on that subject? Good to see you, Big Chonas, stepping into the circle.
Hey, everybody, how's it going? I had a couple thoughts about what happens when the loss of faith in exchanges causes people to really understand the, not your keys, not your coins idea and follow through with that, limiting the actual liquidity of Bitcoin that can be used as a derivative, which is such a big part of exchange traded volume. So is there going to be kind of an industry change that pulls enough Bitcoin, if you will, kind of off the market into something that's like, all right, I'm not going to trade it. I'm just going to put it in my hard wallet. And does that really affect going forward? How this exchange platform, works as we've known it. Does this create the consolidation where only there's a couple, backed by something stronger than what was theoretically strong as FTX, and that can be the next thing that pushes this market forward? Or is this more of a back to basics? This is about Bitcoin and peer-to-peer transactions.
That's all you got?
Chapter 2. So the other thing I had a thought about was the fact that we're trying to impose a value on this stuff, right? Like, why has Dogecoin had a better weekend than, pretty much everything else? And, from a chart and technicals, we use these to say, all right, there's a good chance it will bounce here because of historic patterns, historic history in this area, Fibonacci tracements, Bollingers and stuff in the extremes. Those are all valid points. But in the end, where is the end of the road here? Like, where does this all lead? And after the events of the past couple of weeks, how do you, not necessarily in the corporations and the businesses of crypto, but the idea of it, that it was supposed to be this thing, and then in the short span of a year and a half, it's collapsed millions of hopes and dreams.
What do you have against Matt Damon? What do you have against Matt Damon?
I believed, I had the faith. What was his line? It was the
fortune favors the brave.
Right? Him and Steph Curry and Larry David, and
and Peter Dinklage.
And then the businessman side of it, not just the sailors and what have you, but that kind of dipping my toe in the crypto universe, says some Fortune 500 or some celebrity that kind of represents more or less some business of sorts. Can you all agree that the events of the past few weeks or months, really, I mean, I feel like Three Aces or Three Arrows was such a forgotten thing almost now, and this FTX thing is on the same magnitude times 10. I mean, it's a leveraged collapse of something that used incredible leverage. So,
but didn't one lead to another? You can't talk about them as separate events.
Well, let's talk about what happens next. I think the thing that we have to really understand is this is going to take a lot of time to sort out what's going on here. He's going to get sued. SBF is going to get sued by everybody.
Unless he's a Fed, like Gainsey says. Gainsey says he's a Fed.
So that in itself is going to be an epic thing that's going to happen. Lawsuits and figuring out what happened, where's the money. In the meantime, you had that crazy hack thing, stealing thing that wouldn't happen. I mean, there's so much going on. It's insane. And I think the thing that I'm just to keep me grounded through all this is, wow, this could take a lot of time to sort out.
When have you ever been grounded?
The time that I spilled the blueberry juice on the white carpet. But the thing about seeing what we can focus on going forward is the fact that there's no happy ending yet. There's no glad that's over yet. There's no I'm happy that's behind us yet. I mean, the Mt. Cox people haven't been paid out yet. I mean, this is going to take the litigation and the freezing of these assets. And then think about that correlation where during this freezing of assets, right, the USDT, other things that will be frozen through this litigation, criminal potentially, the ebbs and flows of the price point. And the last thing I'll say was it's hard to not see the potential for some sort of exit scam pump where there's enough of a narrative that gets planted that allows a lot of these people to unwind some of their positions.
Which people? What are all these broad strokes you're painting the brush with here, Big John?
They wear nice shoes. They wear a belt. They have a pressed shirt for some reason. They're always thin. And they seem to be the ones that thought that we can just throw money at this. Smart people that dress weird and have maybe some hygiene issues, but they
well, I have hygiene issues.
Well,
I can
I can attest. But they seem to it's insane. I mean, you really think about it. But what it really is greed and money and opportunity.
Do you think he's a Fed? Do you think SBF is a Fed?
I think there's an opportunity.
Like, think about, you saw what Gainsey's tweet about, like, how is he not in, like, prison yet? Like, this fraud is ridiculous. I mean, I'm asking right now, like, think about it. Is it possible he's a Fed?
Well, I'm not going that.
Like trying to blow up crypto from within, right?
Well,
It's like a Trojan horse.
Sense because who would subject themselves to what he's about to go through, right, over the next several months and years?
What if they disappear him, or he gets a new identity change, or like?
It doesn't matter right now. What's really important is the liabilities, and where's the money, Lebowski, right? Like, where's the funds? Who controls these funds? The funny thing about crypto and blockchain, right, is that we can track all these movements. Doesn't necessarily mean we know who's moving them, but there's going to be a trail and a history of this stuff. And something that I remember we talked about a correlation between the Ponzi and Madoff is that people that thought they sold in time, right? Ooh, I'm happy I got my money off there in time. There's a potential that their funds
claw back.
Could claw back into some sort of a litigation lawsuit in the
Was
future.
that your band in high school? Clawback?
Litigation
Was that the name of your
lawsuit. Right. We went after the.
It's a total mess. It's a total mess, Big Jonas. Let's move on. Let's get some more questions.
Absolutely.
David, how did we do for you, David? Is that we got your brother?
A long-winded answer, but yeah, thanks. One other comment. You know, I really appreciate that you call everything a scam now, because honestly, the narrative doesn't matter, and you're right about that. Yeah. And I used to trade OTC back in the day, and I think you mentioned it.
Me and Jonas are all OTC vets, by the way.
Yeah, and you really get, that's like really the gutter area, but everything is a narrative. Oh my God, they're the best management, or they're the best product, and this would go from trips to like $1, and everything there is scam. It's just like it's crazy.
So now you know where I'm coming from. That's so wonderful. Jonas, what are you gonna say?
Well, I love the correlation between, and we talked about this about OTC and how this seemed.
What's OTC for the people who don't know, Jonas?
If anybody, just to really make it simple, Wolf of Wall Street, pink sheets. These are basically stocks that mostly trade under a penny, sub penny,
under $1, especially
down to 0001 or quad 05. Honestly, they're really the first shitcoins before they were actually like those kind of fractional things. But the bottom line is, you saw and we saw with liquid assets, we saw exponential growth in stock ticker valuations for a very short period of time, where a $1,000 buy would have potentially been a $1 million sell weeks to months later if you nailed the bottom and top. And that's how crazy that was. And that correlation between that and the altcoin market, which we've seen in crypto, was like, we're never going to see that again in a lifetime. And then we saw it in crypto on an exponential basis, and that's what it all is all about. And the bubble burst, and then we were finding out that a lot of that bubble was driven by exponential leverage, in many cases using customer funds to prop up these pumps. I mean, where did all this money come from? And
it's Fugazi. It's a Fugazi. It's a Fugazi.
So
it's
very
a
interesting to
Woozy.
see how this all plays out. It's a Wazi. But in the end, unfortunately, a lot of people got hurt. Not just people that put a little money in, or at least
the Ohio
paper.
Teachers Union. The Ohio Teachers
Union. There's a lot of people that invested in things they believed were sound enough in equivalent to some of the securities they're used to investing in, stocks and bonds and whatnot. And this is the reckoning. This is the reckoning of.
This is the beginning of the reckoning.
Right. But in all reckonings, right?
There's pizza. There's pizza and there's restrooms.
There's opportunities, and I think what we have here, honestly, is just time. I think there'll be a lot of time for this to play out. And in that time, from a trading standpoint, right, from a trader, there's tremendous opportunities. There will be tremendous opportunities.
I mean, I don't know. The trend has to establish before there's opportunity, because absent a trendless environment, it's the hardest environment to trade.
It's not easy. It's the hardest from a stock market standpoint as well, the past, because up only isn't working. And now you have this valuation reset. Now, this is the market trying to actually, maybe it's really trying to do price discovery.
Which market? I mean, we're
all the markets. They're trying to find price discovery when the Fed is not propping them up the way they've been doing for the past 10, 12 years. And it's funny, this battle between Jay Powell trying to raise rates to throw down the economy and kind of bring down the wealth effect. Well, the stock market is trying to stabilize, and the Dow is only really down 7% from all-time highs.
Dow's pretty strong, right?
So it's kind of this tug of war here. It depends how you've been. Are you keep adding? Are you a long-term investor? Are you a trader?
What do you think about Bitcoin, Jonas? Jonas, are you a buyer here or what?
I will say two things quickly. Bitcoin dominance has been stuck at around 40%.
I don't give a damn about dominance.
It's your
And
trigger.
respect, pardon
But
my French, but I don't care about
I've always
dominance.
believed I cannot get behind a Bitcoin bottom until dominance at least gets closer to 50% than 40%.
But it's a long-term trend down on dominance as more shitcoins enter the market.
Well, we see what's happening to these shitcoins that were worth $200 a few months ago and now are worth $17. And why are they only worth $17? Why is Litecoin worth $60? Maybe it is worth
because I can buy it for $60. Someone sells it.
Exactly. So there are things about this market very interesting. You have to figure out what's going to survive, right? And I said two things. There's always the dinosaurs, right? Some of them do better the next run than others.
But most of them suck compared to the new coins.
EOS,
Zcash,
XCM,
DGB, Digibyte.
Some of them had their individual little
TRX.
pumps, right? But some had exponentially bigger pumps. Dogecoin, Litecoin did hit 400 again.
We're gonna put Dogecoin in its own category.
Yeah, but it's not different. It's the same piece of shit. It just has a narrative.
No, it's different. It is different. It's a better piece of shit.
So this is where we are in this market.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
you know, frankly, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it's about time or sanity or stuff. This is a reckoning.
Hannity? You talking about Hannity?
But I know there are people, and let's just face it, we've been down these roads that as long as the Bitcoin network continues to survive, the Bitcoin value, the value of it's still there. It's still there.
I mean, yeah. All right. Well, we don't want to get too far afield here.
Yeah.
Let's
you don't
get
need exchanges necessarily to really believe and to use it and to be an investor in it.
So we've got two great guest hosts. We got Crypto Chase. We got Big Jonas. I'm Big Chads. Check out the pinned tweets. Trader CG, it's your turn to speak. Trader CG.
Hey, Big Chads.
Thank you for being patient. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I've been following your work, and I've got your book here. I'm over in Australia, and
wait, is it Australia or Australia?
Australia, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, really getting a lot from your training and your videos and your book, and I guess I wanted to just jump on because I've been over the past week I've been putting some funds into practice some trading, and I kind of was really following the market with what was happening with FTX, and so I kind of had a feeling that there was going to be a big opportunity to short FTT and to short Sol.
Yes,
so I was,
absolutely.
Yeah, so I sort of started to put some trades together, and I was actually looking at FTT. I started opening some shorts at around $22, $23, and
tell me about it.
Yeah, so but it was a really quite a frustrating thing because I only had about $1,000 that I was working with in my trading account, and I was trying to sort of build it up and try to build up a bit of a trading account, and so I was actually working with higher leverage. So I was actually working on about 18.
No good.
Yeah.
No good.
So what ended up happening was I kept getting stopped out,
So here's the deal. You got to give yourself more flexibility. You got to find a way to just look at every turn, every corner. It's like you're playing one of those, you're reading the Choose Your Adventure book. Have you ever read those words?
Yeah.
It's a Choose Your Adventure book. Like at every opportunity, give yourself more flexibility. Look, and I'm not the best trader. There are people who are listening. There are probably guests who are better traders than me, but I'm just telling you what works for me. Like I'm not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5x. Like all I need. Like I'm not trying to get fancy, and I do multiple positions, so I can move them around. If I want to do $1,000, maybe I have 5 $200 positions instead of one $1,000 position. Now I can move it around to different levels. I just try to give myself a lot of flexibility. Even with something as compelling as FTX is breaking down, I know it's going to dump. I still know it might wick me out. I got to be careful. I got to manage my risk. So I'm usually not going kind of like a high leverage. Chase and maybe Jonas, do you guys want to speak on that? I'd be kind of curious to hear your thoughts.
My question would be about how you, you wanted to short it, right? So like, I'm curious if your entry was on a red candle as it was falling, or was your entry on a short-term green candle that was pumping and you were basically scaling into a short into that strength?
Yeah, I probably chased a few red candles and then got stopped out. And there was a couple of good setups that I had. I marked out the charts and I waited and made some good entries. I'd probably say 30% of my entries were good, solid strategic entries, and then maybe the bulk of them were probably a bit more FOMO, just given what was happening and how fast everything was moving.
Sure, and that's a special circumstance, obviously. The events in the news were really driving the price. But yeah, I just basically say that, and it's hard to do this, but if you want to short something, if you want to long something, more often than not, it's the pullback that offers the best opportunity if you want to long, and it's that spike up that offers the best opportunity if you want to short. And if you wanted to short and it keeps falling, and then you missed it, and that's fine. You wait for the next one. But if you're using leverage, it exacerbates what you're trying to do. So you have to maximize that up thrust to get that short. Because with leverage, you have just such a small.
Jonas, you don't like low leverage. We differ on this, right? Or where are you at?
I have no problem with doing a higher leverage.
No, low leverage.
If you're nailing that bottom within pennies, otherwise it's not going to work because you have to make that almost like a sniper shot if you're over 10, 15 X on your
trade. How do you do stop losses, Jonas? Because how would you handle that? Because we're different. Like, what would you do?
I mean, it's two things. Do I take a $500 trade at a higher leverage and decide to get liquidated? I lose the whole thing. Or do I take a $5,000 trade and decide to lose 10% of that?
Right.
I kind of see it as the same thing. And honestly, if I'm prepared to lose 500 on a $5,000 trade, I might as well, coordinate that differently with the leverage. And that's the advantage of a leverage. Now, really, anything over like 25%, you're just shooting that, whatever. And it's fine if you want to play with like small amounts and try and snipe that stuff. And the other thing you have to realize is the higher the leverage, the quicker the trade should be. You should be thinking about it as like that moment in time where it drops and spikes up, and you want to hit that. You're not going to catch that generational bottom with a 50x trade. You're just not. So the higher the leverage, really, the shorter the time frame you should be in that trade, and that's kind of my philosophy towards that is. But you got to remember, the higher the leverage, the higher the risk, the higher the accuracy your entry has to be.
Yep. Another question. I really appreciate your answers, by the way. Thank you. I had a couple of trades where I marked out a entry level on the pullback that I was waiting for, and so I was waiting for the price to come back, and I had my entry ready. So I had my bid there, my order, and then it would hit the order, and then I would have the stop loss set just like under the liquidation price, and then so it would come down and fill my order, then instantly take me out. So I would just lose like $50 in about 5 seconds, because it would come pick up my order, and then it would just continue through and hit the stop loss. And I'm like, so it was so frustrating. Like, I'm looking at my trades.
The market is going to try to screw you, right? And so any good idea is worth trying 2 or 3 times. Right. So then you talk about scaling into your position rather than your first bullet's not your full bullet. It's just a partial bullet. You're more comfortable adding into a winning idea once it's been confirmed. Often, the price rejected at 100, keeps rejecting. Now it breaks up above it. I'm long. Now it comes back to like 96. I'm stopped out. I'm like, that sucks. Back up above 100 again. I'll try again. I'm long. I'll try like generally 2-3 times. So you've got to give yourself, again, and back to what I said at the beginning, and thank you, Jonas, for your thoughts. It's all about giving yourself flexibility, giving yourself the ability to make a judgment call, some room for error. There's no perfect system. There's no robotic system. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much. One last thing: how do you deal with the emotional frustration when you I'm just sitting here now.
I punch the wall. I go. I punch a tree.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
What do you mean? What do you do?
What
do you do? What do you mean? I mean,
it's
sucks.
just so annoying. It's so annoying. I'm sitting here. I knew FTT was going to crash, and somehow I've lost money. I've lost so much money on the shorts, and it still went down the whole time. So
it's
I'm
the reactiveness. You're being
yeah.
reactive to the price action,
yes,
and not proactive on what. And it's not easy, buddy. But it's I think about it. That was 3 days ago. There was that pump when CZ was like, I'll bail you out. And for that moment, that pump, even though it was so bearish and it was about to fall apart, but there was that kind of stop out all the shorts, right?
Yeah.
And then instantly crash the price. So you don't get those leverage shorts, in on time. It's brilliant, right? And so it's frustrating but it's also the hardest thing because it's about human emotions. And when you can figure out that in many ways it's the opposite of what you feel like you should be doing, don't run away from the nasty red candle. Figure out some sort of an entry if you want to find, a better risk versus reward. And in the end, that's what it's all about trading is this the best risk versus reward trade? And how do I protect my capital if it goes south? And these are the things we have to deal with.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much. Smaller positions will be easier to manage. So you're going to get, it's just for whatever reason, a smaller position, you tend to get stopped out less too, So just think about your position size. Think about trying a couple times. Be more agile. You'll do just fine. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.
My man, Ebrem Sharif. It's nice to have you. I'm glad you've been patient.
Hey, Shets. How's it going?
What's up, dude? How you been, man? I talked to you, 2 days ago?
Yeah. We've talked 2 days ago about I don't remember what we were talking about, but
you said that you were a huge fan of FTX, and you told everybody to go long on FTT last time we talked.
Yeah. Is this space being recorded? Yes. Then no, I did not say that. No.
So what's up?
All good. So just want to say a quick thing on shorting FTT because I decided to stay out of experience trying to short Luna because I had a very similar situation.
Yeah.
I was short Luna the night it crashed to from 70 to 30 and then the next
12th,
day just
right? Was that the May 12th?
Yeah. I do remember I had a big position actually, and I was adamant that Luna was going to zero. The only problem that I had there is I was using too much leverage, and those pumps along the way they freaked me out, and I got stopped. And again, I was the idiot who lost money on that short instead of making money. This was basically the home run, and. The two lessons that I learned out of that was, first of all, if I'm confident in this is a situation where thinking FTX is going to crash to zero, there is no point in using that much leverage. First of all, because this is the home run, this is a huge trade, and one should not be that greedy. That's what I learned. I'd like to be in a trade that I could control its risk because in these situations. I'm not sure I can find an entry that makes sense, and I don't know what's the risk. I could easily get wicked out, and charts don't make sense anymore there. The risk is probably $1 risk. There is no chart level that will help me say, okay, I'm going to place my stop loss because there is support or resistance there or whatever. I don't think charts make sense when it's just in free fall, right? So that's why I thought I might watch FTT from the sidelines. Could have made money, but I decided to just watch it from the sidelines, just in case. One tweet could change things. You have CZ coming in and saying hey, we're gonna buy FTT, and then they pumped it and stopped a lot of people out. So yeah, if I would short any of those coins in a similar situation again, I'm not going to use that much leverage, maybe 1x 2x at most. It's already sufficient.
Look, nobody like knows how to like nobody goes up and can master their first swing at the bat, their first attempt to kind of hit the ball. Nobody's gonna like succeed in their first attempt. Like now so many more things. And you talked about the experience of like, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that. Now this is what I'm gonna do next time. And like how much leverage you use is about learning what's right for you and your risk threshold, and how actively or not you want to manage a position. And it's like this whole thing where even if you feel like in your bones something's going up or down, right? In your bones it's going up or down, but you can't make a profit on the trade. Like, how frustrating is that? Jonas, do you know what I'm talking about?
It reminds me of 2018, 2019, where you'd have these epic cascades, right? These waterfall crashes. And it was so, oh, here it goes, right? But in those crashes, there were these little spike ups, right? These little that were not little, they were 3, 4, 5, 6% moves within like a 3 or 4 minute time frame that negated the great, entry of a long or a short. And how many times would you stop yourself out, right? Only to find that, oh, I was fine. I just had to kind of absorb some of that bouncing there. These are illiquid markets. And then all of a sudden you get this wash of liquidity and transactions kind of coming in. And there's so much about this market that is computer algorithm trading induced price action, that it's about finding reasons to bounce at certain areas to create the best arbitrage. I saw price swings. I think Bitstamp was $600 less a Bitcoin at one point during the crash than Coinbase was. I was like, so there was a lot of just the system being stressed, and then you combine that with just overall faith in the system. If a company like FTX, and think about Major League Baseball, all the umpires had FTX.com on their logos. There's a stadium named after FTX, and Crypto.com. Are these companies insolvent? How quickly are these stadiums going to change their name? That's the key, when these stadiums start to change their names.
I saw them taking the letters off the top of the artist formerly known as the FTX Stadium.
I think the top for me, and I remember this very clearly, it was the Super Bowl, and every football player was talking about their NFTs and how much ETH that they had and stuff like that. And you knew it was like full saturation, and there was no one left to buy at those levels. And then we are who we are. But in the ashes, I mean, this is crypto. This is over a decade old. We've seen this before epic crashes. We're basically close to what has historically been a bottoming area of Bitcoin, between 78 and 82 to 84%.
Yeah. Let's cut the bullshit. Are you buying
But
here?
price is irrelevant. It really is time. It's how much time are you prepared to wait?
Are you buying here?
Am I buying here? I am prepared to not buy here yet. Because I don't feel like Bitcoin is undervalued yet. I still think it's overvalued, and I still think a lot of that.
Still, right? Still got some enthusiasm. Even with all this, it's still got a little bit of like juice, right?
One thing I'll say about what has precipitated the last 4 massive bull markets has been, the halving event. But this one's different than the rest, in my opinion. We're at 20 million coins. The change from, what was it, 6 to 3 or 3 to 1.5? It's not as huge of a change in the mining reward that the previous one. So it's a diminishing returns issue. And if you think about this bull market we just went through, Bitcoin was a great investment if you bought, let's say under 10,000, but there was thousands of other coins or DeFi protocols or sushi swaps that played out tremendously more yield than Bitcoin from 10K to
What do you know about
60K.
yield? What do you know about yield?
I know I'm supposed to slow down when I approach a sign that says yield.
That's true. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Listen, Jonas, I'm glad you're here. Let's Ebram, go ahead.
Yeah, the one last question is with CME now trading around 800, 900 bucks below spot price. Do you have a feeling, since Jonas said like he doesn't feel it's undervalued yet, do you have a feeling like the 9.6K gap might get closed on a spot wick? Maybe that's
Why
like
would you
around
talk about that, Ebram? My
what?
friend, you cut me. You cut me deeply.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hurt you, but
You hurt me. You hurt me. How can you talk about that? We haven't even
One
tested
price level at a
12K
time.
yet. We have no idea what the price does at 12K. How can you talk about 9.6? Have you heard nothing I've said to you in the last several years?
I agree with
well,
that for now.
I know about the 12. I know about the 12K, but the thing is, because I've been hearing so closely, I'm also concerned about the slow bleed, right? Like we're here at 16K, and it's not even trying to pump. Like, it's just chilling right there. Nobody's
There's
trying to
nothing
buy.
here. This is air. There's a complete air between 12K and like 19K.
But that's the point. It should free fall now, right? That's what I was expecting.
No, it's not entirely air. I recall in 2017, while Bitcoin was doing its last blow off top, right, from 15K to 20K, and then on the way down, it had some stops along the way. And one of those stops I remember very clearly was around 17.5. And I think a lot of that has to do with why we hovered and held that support for months. So now we are in this new level. And I think this area will be a lot shorter of a consolidation of a zone. If we pump out of it or if we fall through it more, I don't think we're going to have to wait from the time it took the initial, 17.5 to 24, and then back down to the lower low. The correlation, and real fast here, the correlation this week between the stock market and Bitcoin, it broke apart in a big way. And that is saying something. There's something happening in the market structure that is setting up to resolve itself as we get to the end of the year. And this is where we are. The end of the year, historically, in Bitcoin, December of 18, December of 17, January of 18, it all happens here. So we're in that zone where we could flush to Ched's 12K area or to the gaps.
Hey, it's mine.
I think you copyrighted it, didn't you? Or the gaps and CME lower, potentially, in my opinion, as low as in the 3Ks. What environment, what world are we living in if those happen? And then the most important thing is, what's your plan? What are you going to do about it? If we get down there, do you have limit orders already in?
That's it.
In which account, in which exchange do you trust
what's
those
your
to
stop
fill?
loss? When's your idea wrong?
When is your idea wrong? Are you prepared to just keep buying, and dollar cost averaging lower? These are the things you really need to ask yourself, and not the hypotheticals about lower price levels.
Big Jonas in the house. Ebram, thanks for stepping up, man.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Jonas.
Good to see you next. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. Let's, folks, we'll probably wrap it up pretty soon unless we get a couple more guests in here to ask questions. Let's see. Crypto Trucker, what's going on, dude? Go ahead, man. Hit unmute. We want to hear from you. Crypto Trucker, what's up, bro?
Good, bud. How you going?
Hi, doing wonderful. How about you, my friend?
I'm doing good, brother. Thank you. All right, I got a question, man. Okay, I'm new to this thing, crypto, right? And I have lost a lot of money. Like, I started doing it when it was in 60s, right?
Ooh.
And I'm like really down right now. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing it for.
All right, sorry, go ahead. Try again. We're unmuted. Crypto Trucker, unmute yourself. Sorry, something happened. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, brother.
Okay, so yeah, so I've been like listening to podcasts and reading it on the internet and stuff like that from last year and a half, ever since it was on the top of like 60s, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so I, I'm doing the DCA thing on it. Like every week, when I get my
DCA Bitcoin.
yeah, on the Bitcoin. Yep, that's right, on the
Why?
Bitcoin.
Why?
I'm trying to get it as much as possible until next bull run because I'm in like
That's
big
fine.
loss, right? So
Yeah.
the first thing is, what are your predictions like for the next bull run?
I mean, I have no predictions. Are you kidding me? What do you mean? Like, who's gonna win the Super Bowl in 4 years?
But what if you just gotta guess? Like I've been listening to this guy. I don't know. Like, do you know this guy, Ben Armstrong,
Yeah, he's
Bitboy Crypto?
Ben Armstrong?
Talking.
Oh,
He's
Ben,
talking about
that's his name.
BitBoy.
Go ahead,
Bitboy,
Crypto Chase. Hold on,
Bitboy.
Chase. Go ahead, Chase. Go ahead, Chase.
He's talking about BitBoy, right? Ben Armstrong.
Yep.
Oh,
I mean,
he's
What do you
all
guys
right.
got beef
So,
with him?
okay, listen. So look, I just made up. I had a beef with him. We just made up, and we're friends now. Okay, because
Okay.
I used him as a counter indicator because I said go long when the moon boys capitulate, and there was like a
Shit.
thing, and we had a little thing. We're cool now. Like actually, we're cool now, so it's all good. Look, he's not a fun. He's a fundamental analyst. He's more of like a broader space analyst. Like I'm a price guy. You know, Chase is a price guy. Jonas, I don't know what he does, but
Okay.
listen,
The
don't
thing
listen to
is
any of us. Don't listen to any
okay.
of us. We're irrelevant. It's about you applying your risk. It's about you deciding to open up a trade, and it needs to be based
So
on an opportunity that you
okay.
see, not that we see.
Okay, so this is the thing. So ever since I like got into crypto, I started listening to this guy. I've been listening to this guy from year and a half, and he got after this FTT like 2 weeks before this whole
That's
thing
a good
happened.
call. He did a good job with that. I gave him credit for it. That's really good.
Yeah, and luckily I had some FTT, I had some Solana. I just sold everything before, like the day he said it, just sold it. Okay, luckily I got out of that. Otherwise, I would have been fucked, man. I had like thousands of dollars on FTT. Okay, so I got one more thing. I'm trying to get after like this whole thing. I got some. I got this thing for trading now. I want to learn this thing. How long think like does this thing take to read up the charts and
Probably
stuff
for
like
you.
man?
I'm hearing your voice. I'm getting the set. What's your job? What's your day job? What do you do?
Bro, that's my day job. I'm at work at truck right now. I'm working. I'm
It's
trucker.
gonna take you 4.5 years to get profitable.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, just listen.
Whoa,
Set
whoa,
your
whoa, whoa, whoa,
expectations
whoa!
low.
No.
Set
There
your
are many
expectations
people.
low. Okay, go ahead, Jonas. Why don't you
There
make
were
it
many
rain? Go
people
ahead.
that were profitable in this last bull run. There were geniuses that were created in this last bull run. All they had to do was just buy the crazy ape or the CryptoPunk. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. It's about timing. It's unfortunate that you entered this ecosystem towards the top of the hype cycle. And a lot of people did, and a lot of people held on, all the way
Uh-huh.
down, and realizing that everybody who wanted this to happen was always going to pump up each other. But when there was no one left, and when the money was over, and a lot of that has to do with the Fed, that's it. And what's happening is there's no backstop, unlike what happened in 2008 in the stock market, and basically the government saved the banking system by putting a backstop on it. There isn't anything close to that really in crypto. We thought, or well, I don't, we thought, but some thought that FTX was that backstop, and that SBF was going to be that JPM of this error. And what a farce! What a joke! And then you look back on all these clues, right? All these crazy, odd things about him, about people who work for FTX, and all these rumors and people resigning over the past several months. And it's like, what's going on here? And then when the price cannot sustain the lie, then it all falls apart. And boy, did it fall apart.
What about you, Chase? What do you any thoughts on that?
For my man Trucker, I think it's a bit of unfortunate timing, as Chunga said. It seems like you joined towards the top. You following sort of the moon boys of the space, and DCAing all the way down. If you're looking to learn to trade now, I mean the real journey, so to say. Yeah, it's going to take a couple years, and not only that, but it's not easy like it was, right? All you had to do the past year was you could just buy and hold. The people who buy and hold did fine. The people who just leverage long over and over again, they did fine. You're entering the market when it's very difficult. And if you're talking about the next bull run, I mean, I think you'll probably be waiting for at least some time, probably years, in my opinion. I mean, if you go back in this space towards the beginning, I gave my overall thought and everything. I don't want to run through it again, but I think you'll be waiting some time. While I have it though, I just want to say, Cheds, thanks for having me on. I got to get out of here, so I very much appreciate it.
I'm glad you're around, man. Thanks for being part of the team. Folks, that's Crypto Chase. Just do a quick reset here. Check out Crypto Chase. He's a nice follow on Twitter. He's on my follow list. Of course, Big Jonas. I want you folks to look at the top of the Twitter Spaces. There's the new follower packet. I have links to study material, textbook recommendations, the masterclass tutorials. They're free on my YouTube channel. They'll teach you how to trade. I really actually recommend you stop trading until you've watched those videos. It's irresponsible of you to trade until you've watched my masterclass tutorials. They're free. Ched's Trading on YouTube. Check out the free version of my book, Bitcoin Live. I'm a founding analyst. I'm part of the best team in the world that studies crypto. And I do twice a week full market update. Check out Bitcoin Live. All right, we got what's going on? We got a few more guests in the house. So, Trucker, do you want anything before we move on? Did we kind of touch on the subjects for you? Did we answer that for you, Crypto Trucker?
I think that's about it, man. Just one more thing. Like, is it a good thing if I want to DCAing for like another 2 years?
It's
What
up.
would you?
Listen, here's what I would say, and I'll let Jonas respond and thank you. I mean, if it's money you don't need for a few years, then that's fine. But if it's money you might need in a couple of years, it's just a matter of timing. What do you think, Big Jonas? He asked. Did you hear his question specifically?
I'll have a very fast answer. I had millions of doggy coin in 2018. Okay, millions. And it was worthless until one day it was worth actually a lot of money, and I can't believe it. So it's about, there are moments where you think that, what the hell is this crap? It doesn't mean anything, it doesn't have any value. And then for some crazy serendipitous reasons, years later, all of a sudden it can. So I think there are people that bought the top of the 2008 housing market, and it took them 10 years to get back to even. But then when they got even, a year and a half later, 2 years later, their house was worth 130 times more for a moment. So it's about timing, sure, but it's about patience. And as Ched said, if this is money that you can keep locked up in the years to come, then sure. But if it's not, and if you want to reassess, and also think about it this way too, like whatever happens next, there's going to be another thing. I mean, there weren't really NFTs more or less in the 2017, 2018 bull market. There weren't the DeFi coins and tokens and the staking and the APRs that happened. So there was a whole new thing that was be able to create it this time. There'll be a new thing next time. So think about that when you're figuring out, where do I want to put my money?
Where do you want to put your money, Jonas? We'll get you Truly in a second. You're coming up next.
It's funny you ask, because something is happening now that hasn't happened if for 20 years. Remember when I was in college, I had money in CDs that were paying 5.5%, 6% per year, which was just a given, right?
It's called per annum. It's called per annum, sir.
Per annum. And then since 2008, those same CDs that were paying 5-6% were paying 0.2%, 0.02%. So we're back in an age now where you actually get paid to put money in the bank, and it's not a lot, it's not huge, but it's not zero anymore. It's a couple points here and there, and in these uncertain times, it's not the craziest things to have a guaranteed 3, 4, 5%, income, especially with high inflation. You have to offset this high inflation with a steady stream of continuous income, because that's what inflationary period does to economies. It's a constant drag on progress, and it's tricky. The Fed has a lot of work to do to bring inflation down to what their targets are, and they're not necessarily the only ones that can really influence this, and that's kind of the conundrum.
Yeah, it's up to Kamala Harris, right?
Well, that's in the years to come.
So next up we have WVRFX. Truly blessed. Your turn. What's going on, man? What's going on, bud?
Nothing much. I just wanted to piggyback on what he was saying, and most importantly, I think the community is where you start. If you want to capitalize on this market right now, it's so important to get connected with the leaders in the space and the people that are upcoming, and just pretty much just gravitate before you spend any money on the markets. Spend money educating yourself and getting just the foresight of what's going on from the people who've been here, so you could get a little bit of a navigation system and how to maneuver in this current market era. I think it's so important now that we kind of just share just our history and our story of where we're coming from in crypto. And I just love the community. I love these spaces. I love what Twitter is becoming, and I think that it's going to be one of the top Web3 apps of the future. And I love what everyone's doing in this space as far as educating and sharing. And that's pretty much my 2 cents. Yeah, thank you guys.
I appreciate your energy. It's positive energy. It's forward energy. It's excellent energy. So I'm really glad you stepped up today. Okay, bud? Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to step down now. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much. That's all we need, folks. Hey, hit that button, bottom left. I might end this in 5 minutes. It could be in 20 minutes, half hour. But, request to speak. I do want to hear from you. Next up, we have Coin Villain. You've been patient. What's up, Coin Villain?
What's going on? First, I want to say thanks for the insight and the conversation. Quick question. What are your guys' takes on the Litecoin halving? I mean, the environment is kind of very bad, but...
Snooze.
What's that?
Litecoin happening? Really?
Well, I mean, is it just a quick little pump and then it goes away?
Why? Who cares about Litecoin? It's like a soap opera from 10 years ago. No one cares about it anymore. Like, why? Why Litecoin?
I disagree, Chad. I disagree.
No, you do. Oh, because you have the tattoo. You have the Litecoin tattoo, and you haven't gotten rid of it.
It's quite fascinating that Litecoin really underperformed significantly in this bull run. I mean, it did exactly. It hit 400. It hit 400 in the early 2018 or late 2017, and it did it again in was like May of 2021. So now we're back here. I remember it hitting $20, $18, and then $20 again in the last bear market after that 400. It's at $60. It's literally where it was when Bitcoin was at 20,000. I mean, so there's a relative strength, arguably, to what it's holding up to now. But there is something interesting about it, is that it is an OG coin. It does have, I mean, think about Ethereum Classic, right? It's dog shit.
I try not to.
I know, right? It's ridiculous, right? But it's Ethereum Classic. It has the word Ethereum in it. It was one of the original coins.
Is this like Ma and Newer?
Well, it's like it was one of the original OG coins on Coinbase. right? I think it was like the fifth one they added, and it had an epic pump in 2018. You know, in this last bull run, right? It had a huge pump. It was quick though; it was very quick. But there's something to say about what can survive, and it's.
But why
I got it.
Litecoin? But why Litecoin? The beta is so much lower. It's like it's just a trash
It's
coin.
it's really just because of the halve. If there was no halving event, that's like every other 2 years to the Bitcoin halving, then I wouldn't be.
So tell me
even
about
be
that.
asking
I don't
about
know
it.
about it. Maybe I'm being ignorant. I'm being
Litecoin has its own
norm.
halving.
Yeah.
It has its own halving every other 2 years, so it's coming up, and I think
when is that? Why it's had some relative strength lately?
probably people are. I think people are stacking. Yeah.
Stacking. They're stacking.
Remember,
well, I mean,
like
they're using this opportunity.
Yeah.
The next halving is in.
What are you doing? How are you approaching it?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you, my friend. I appreciate the like topic and the question. So like, I'm curious to hear, kind of like what you think. You know.
Well, I think because of it didn't do as well during this last bull run because Doge basically stole the thunder because of Elon.
Yeah.
And there were so many other coins and, Solana, all these things. But the halving is like the only thing that's making me pay attention to it at this point. If you just look up the Litecoin halving, it's in 200 and it's like in a year basically. So I think last time it pumped maybe 6 months before it, and then it just went down. And I remember it because I was like, why is this thing pumping in like 2018, I think, or 2019?
So is that how, like, in terms of your trading, like, is that how you're entering and exiting your trades? Like, what's your methodology? Like,
this isn't a trade though. Like,
it's a little bit more of a long term
narrative.
It's a little bit more of a long term swing, kind of like the Bitcoin halving, at least for Litecoin. I'm not an expert trader. I did a little bit better this last bull run, just paying attention to like the PayPal news when it came out, and then the halving, and that was kind of when I did a longer term DCA strategy. And unfortunately, I thought Litecoin was going to do the same thing as last time, but I should have stacked Ethereum instead of Litecoin. But I still made some money. I lived off crypto for a year, so
good for your brother.
I didn't retire off of it, but I made some money. But now it's kind of like back to the drawing board.
Couple things. And first of all, I'm really glad you stepped up. For sure.
Thanks.
I think we have to be, and thank you. We have to be careful to like not assume the last, because Bitcoin did this in the last 10 years, and every time it, when 80% bounced, it's going to do it again. We have to nothing's owed to us, right? We don't owe anything just because it's always happened, just because of whatever. Like, you can't count on any of that. Number one. Number two,
I agree.
It's a lot easier in a bull market too. So you probably had some benefit of like a bull market trading environment based on like what I'm hearing from you.
Yes.
You have to just look. You have to define your risk before it defines you, and that's just like trading. That's like, what is trading 101, right? Like, the first lesson of trading is like, I need to define my risk before it defines me. It's not about like fancy technique, a symmetrical triangle, measured move of head and shoulders. It's define your risk, because defining your risk is about, tell me your trade idea. What's your idea? Okay, when's it wrong? What's your idea?
Right.
Okay, when's it wrong?
Right.
Does that
like
make
where's the invalidation basically?
That's it. That's everything. Because at the end of the day, you have to survive for the next trade. It's not about this trade. It's about the next trade. It's about being around and surviving for the next trade. So this trade is about surviving so I can take advantage of the next trade.
Belief is important too. Like, those who believed in 2018 and 2019 got rewarded eventually. It was hard. It was hard to believe in crypto and Bitcoin. There were
I hate
epic
that word
swings.
so much. Where are you going with this? I hate the word believe.
Because people keep referencing to the next bull run. Oh, I've learned so much this time, so the next time I'll be prepared. Right. And the market's not going to give it to you.
It never does. It never gives you what you want next time.
Exactly. That's why it can be such a hard slog through what we could be going through, which could be a very elongated crypto winter.
You can't say it on the radio. You can't say elongated.
And that's what people have to. I keep hearing this term. The next bull market. Oh, I'm prepared. I'm stacking.
Right. So when's that going to come? They just assume it's coming. It's given to them.
Right. They have to. The market can be irrational a lot longer than you can be solvent and patient. I mean,
that's it.
This is reality. And then you throw in the fraud of what we're seeing here when people can't even trust. This is the bank. This is about. You can't trust the bank. The bank was FTX. This is exactly like 1929, where the banks didn't have a backstop.
I remember well. We had some brandy. It was okay. Colin, go ahead and respond to that, and then we'll move on. Colin, what do you got?
I was just saying. I think the only thing that could, one of the things that could change the climate is a big change in politics. We could change the the overall market and the Fed and all these things. Until then, I think it's at least for a long play, it's a decent time to try to stack. I'm not an expert trader. I sometimes don't have the patience for it. I've made some money as a trader. I started getting into BitMEX like towards the end of 20. Whenever Bitcoin broke below 6K, that's when I started. Was it 2018 in the heyday of BitMEX? That was when I started getting into trading. Before then, I was just kind of buying and holding. But I'm not a good shorter. I'm always too optimistic. So I know that about myself. So for me, it's like I think it pays better for me to buy and DCA. But I agree with you. And that was a mistake of mine, assuming that because this happened 4 years ago, like just the symmetry of my brain, it's kind of how my brain works, that it's going to happen again. And you're 100% right. Like Litecoin didn't go to 1,000 or 2,000. It just hit its previous all-time high, and then that was the end of it.
So listen,
the other thing you have to realize.
I'll let you go real quick, and we'll move on. Colin, it's great to hear from you. Find your lane, like find your way to, there's a big mama pig with like 20 teats, and there's like 20 baby pigs going at the teats, right? Like find your lane, find your way, get your access, find the different way to trade for you, short term, long term. Holding through bear markets, short term trading. Figure it out. Just find your style, but like you got to define your risk. I'll just leave you with that. You got to define your risk. Don't let it define you. Jonas, go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks.
It's so easy to say next time I'll be prepared and I'm gonna stack sats now. I'm gonna keep adding into this now because the next time. But it's not that easy. It's about you can have the best entries, right? And you can have the best DCA, but it's about sticking the landing. It's about scaling out and selling towards the top of the market. I think there were a lot of people that held and were smart and added into the 2018 and 19 bear market, and they were riding high with tremendous profits on paper, tremendous. And then all of a sudden they couldn't stick the landing, and they left so much real money on paper. And I know there are a lot of us out there, and I am included in that left a lot of money on the table, right? You know when to hold them and know when to fold them, know when to walk away and know when to run. And there was a time where the trade, there were lots of trades, right? So if you're able to get in at 2, 3, 4, 5 and scale out at 6, 7, 8, 9, that's kind of what you want to do. You're not going to nail the bottom or sell the top, but if you can get close to the bottom and sell out towards the top, then that's really the most realistic thing you can really hope to achieve.
Big Jonas. Oh, sorry, my audio was off. Big Jonas. Next up, we have, and by the way, Big Jonas on Twitter, Jonas Trading on YouTube. He's on Tinder as Big Daddy 775. Next up, we have Satoshi Glockamoto. Satoshi, what's going on, bud? It'll be your turn to speak to the audience. We'll give you a few moments just as a quick reset. I'm here with my good buddy, Big Jonas. He's a veteran trader. Big Jonas introduced me to crypto. So that's who we're dealing with here. Big Jonas, he's a great resource to have. VG.
It was a blind date. It was a blind date. It was a bar, a little shady bar, and I introduced you, and you've been together ever since.
Me and you, and the Svornikov twins, right? The blind date. VG, go ahead. VG, take it away, bud.
Hey guys, thanks a lot
Rescue
for what
us.
you
Rescue
do.
us from this conversation.
Yeah, maybe this will be a different question. So hypothetically, let's say you have $100 portfolio to trade Bitcoin. How do you take positions?
$100.
I mean, I'm kidding. Like, I hypothetically, right? I could say 1 million. I could say $500,000, but hypothetically, to keep it simple, let's say $100. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're trading. Are you trading that whole $100, or like how do you
that's your
go about?
portfolio? Your whole portfolio?
Dude, okay. Let me make it. Okay, it's 1 million. Now what?
I mean, whatever it is. So let Jonas, you go too, but no trade should be more than like 3% of your portfolio.
Right. So now, okay, so you're trading, but there are a lot of people who want to, not miss the next bull run and take the most out of it. So,
well, what does miss the bull run mean? I mean, if there's a bull run, it's going to break 18.2. I can go long.
Right.
Yeah,
Whenever
you
break 22.5,
for
I
a
can
year
go
and a
long.
half or 2 years. Are you holding this long for 2 years?
No. What I mean is, let's say, your moving averages, indicators are flashing that the bottom is in, and now we are gonna go, right? Like the bull run is on.
No. Those are none of those. Those are words. And by the way, it's good to see you again. I know you're a follower. It's nice to see you. We've talked.
Yeah.
Look, if the bottom's in, the price recaptures lost support. I don't care about moving averages, flashing, fancy indicators. Those are words you say when you feel like it's a fancy formula. No, price gets back up above lost support. That's like truth. That's fact. That's law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, focus on that. If the bottom's in, it gets back up above like 18.2 or 22.5 or 25.5. Pick whatever level you want. You can't miss the bottom. At that point, missing the bottom's a choice.
Right.
You're choosing to miss the bottom.
So the question is then, do you just do 3% or do you go 100%?
You're asking me about investing or trading? What are you talking about? You're asking me different questions. Like if you're trading, you're looking to trade based on you've identified a trend. We'll call it an uptrend, and that uptrend has temporarily dipped. And you think, okay, this move is gonna continue back up because it's a temporary move. I'm in, and here's where my idea will be wrong. That's a trade. Now but then on the other hand, you're asking me about 3% and like a 1 day the price turns around with Bitcoin. I mean, these are it's not the same topic.
Yeah, I guess in this context we'll be investing because I don't want to.
I don't know. I can't tell you anything about investing. There's nothing I know anything about.
So when you trade, you're just trading like 3-4% of your portfolio every time.
Yeah, or less, or pretty much. Very small amounts. I have a lot of small positions when I trade. I mean, generally speaking, that's what I do.
Like when the price ran from $3,000-$4,000 to 65, you were just doing like 3%
from
the way.
3,000 to 65. I had a lot of different trades along the way. Like
I disagree with the premise of the question. You can't ask it when Bitcoin rose 30x. Were you long? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this is where what I'm trying to understand from you guys is if somebody
VG, it's not on or off. Right? It's a flow. It's a dynamic range of opportunity, and I'm long from 3K. I probably would have been long at like 6K because it flipped that lost support level I told you about earlier, and then I'm riding long trades up to 65K, but I might get shaken out along the way, and then I'll jump back in on the next good opportunity. So there's all these opportunities along the way.
Mm-hmm. And the key is you are still doing like 3% per trade.
Yes. I'm not trying to like hit a home run with my whole portfolio. Jonas, what do you got?
Yeah, there's no like grand slam trade of your entire portfolio. A grand slam trade is when you take 3% of your portfolio in a trade and hit it out of the ballpark in that trade. But you're not trying. It's irrational to think 98% of the time that these are about setting up trades. This week in the crypto market, there was tremendous trades to be had, long and short. So it was a bearish week, but within that bearish week, there were insane bullish rips. So it's not a question that, like, you're not asking any reasonable question in that context, because there's different ways to take advantage of what we're seeing. And it sounds like a lot of the people talking this evening are frustrated with how they seem to have played the most recent moves in the market. And it's like, oh, this is a terrible event. FTX should drop, or FTT token and sold because of that, and blah blah blah. But it's not just a straight down the hill, and that's what trading is about. It's made to question your short, or to
it's gonna
long.
trigger all your stop losses before
you
it
can be
actually
right and early and mess the trade up, and that's what mostly happens most of the time. Is you can be totally right and totally early and screw up the trade, or you can be right and just screw up the landing where you had an opportunity to sell and to make a good trade and you didn't take it, and then it tested you on like a quick pump to, like, and that's what this is all about. So that's why it's so important to not use too much of your money and take profits along the way.
Thank you, VG. I appreciate the topic. All right, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. I would say I think it's probably a lot harder than you think it is, just based on the way I feel like you're conceptualizing it. It's just a lot harder than you think. All right. All right. Thank you, brother. Who's speaking? Jonathan. All right, go ahead, Jonathan. What's up, dude?
What's up, buddy? I don't know anybody in here. I just hear you guys talking. I did see Chase in here.
That's cool. What's going on?
Say that again?
I said it's cool. That's cool. What's going on?
Not much. I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience in the crypto markets.
Please do. Please do.
So pretty much, I got into crypto early on, let's say September of 2017. I messed that up. I held all the way to the bottom, and then I just DCA'd from 2018 all the way to COVID, in just stocks, just safe S&P shit.
Yeah.
I took that money, which was like I was like doing like $25 a week for like 2 years or something like that, which ended up being like 2,000 and change, 2,200, something like that.
That's pretty smart, dude. That's pretty smart.
I took that money and then invested it into a couple cryptos, some DeFi coins in the V-shaped recovery of like the COVID, let's say like April of 2020.
Yeah.
I turned that money into about 50 grand.
Damn, good work.
But I didn't like you guys were saying, the landing was just off.
Landing's off?
The landing was off, man. Yeah, so.
Shit. But how could you pick up a guitar and play Stairway to Heaven? That's what I keep telling people. I tell people, and like people get down. It sounds like you've got a great attitude about it, but like people get down on themselves. Oh, I did this. I had it all made, and I screwed it up. I'm like, yeah, but like, nobody picks. Nobody can instantly be good at something. Like,
No, exactly. So in 2021 of March, I quit my career of 7 years. So I was a Jaguar Land Rover technician fixing cars. I had 30K in my portfolio. A month later, I had 50K. That's when the market was hot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I felt like the man. I felt like, I know I was unstoppable and no one can fucking fuck with me.
Yeah, don't talk to me, bro.
Don't talk to me. I got 50 in paper money, bro.
Yep.
And then pretty much that's when I started my learning to actually trade, and I took the whole from 2020 March of 2021 till 2022 March, just straight learning to trade. Every single day, just waking up 7 in the morning, just spending 15, 14 hours a day, just researching, learning, back testing, doing all that. and I'm still here. I'm still not, like you guys were saying before, it takes about 4 years to be, consistently profitable, but I'm on my way. I'm still working those little quirks.
Dude, I like your ethic. Like, here's the deal. Like talent doesn't mean anything without work ethic.
Yeah, no, dude, you have to treat trading like a business. It's and there's I remember listening to this one guy. He said the thing about trading is that you can't bend the rules. There's rules and you can't bend them. And when you bend them is when you get burned. So
you get burned, and you got to keep it like I have good friends who think they can trade, but they don't treat it like a business. So that's a problem.
Exactly. So right now I'm working on getting a 100K account, like with the like with those funded accounts and stuff like that. Just just following the rules. 1% risk.
Good.
Targeting 3 to 5 risk reward.
Yeah. Grinder, baby.
Grind it out. You know what I'm saying? So
wow. All right. We got a winning. We have a great winner here, folks. Listen to this. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so right now, I ended up picking up a job going back into the field, but working from home. So I'm doing both.
Good for you, dude. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all your experience. Jonas, do you have any thoughts on that? Big Jonas, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a story that a lot of people I think can relate to. The on paper wealth that seems so it didn't seem real, right? On paper, all of a sudden you had a couple grand in play, right? Just a couple grand, something that would be a good night in Vegas or a trip somewhere, but that's it. And then all of a sudden, it was $50,000, and $50,000. It's almost, for me at least, in back in the day, it was a good year's salary. So it's like, do I have the opportunity to make a year's salary, or can I let it ride and make a 10 years salary?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were on paper did incredibly well, and then that greed that like, can I turn this 200,000 I just made from Doggy Coin into 2 million, and by trying to get to that point, or to what's even worse is to basically see it for an instant, right, on your account, where for a moment, for a pump, for a big green candle in time, your account was 80, 90 grand, and if you had just said market sell, done, I'm out, good night,
to have loved and then lost.
Never lost, yeah. And then how many people were like, oh my God, why didn't I sell my stupid NFT at this price? And it's not just crypto. There were baseball cards that were worth crazy money that were only printed like a year ago or 2 years ago. And there were cars that were worth crazy money just a year or two more. But you see this stuff. You see the price of, or the value of used cars plummeting, and then the cost of certain things here and there. And you're asking yourself what truly is value. And then it's about risk on and risk off. Can I keep money in cryptos and still pay my electric bill? And these are the realities that this market needs to attend to. And only in a retail driven FOMO market will crypto and Bitcoin achieve what it experienced in 2020 and 2021. And you got to argue that we're years away from anything close to that. You'd have to assume that, but this market has interesting ways of tricking us. Maybe we are closer to the bottom from a long-term perspective, and taking that risk now will pay off in 2024 and 2025. Right. Who knows? But that's what the people who took that risk in 2018 and 2019 and just held through it all, held through the COVID crash, they were rewarded for a moment in time, in paper, or on their account, on their computer screen. But what did they do? What did they do when they waited so long? And they were up and they did it. They were rich. They made exponential money.
They bought
on paper.
They bought Ether rocks.
They try to be too cute by half. They sold this to buy more of this, and they tried to find the next one and to exponentialize that gain. And in doing so, a lot of people lost it all. And
All right. Yep.
That's what happens in markets, and especially exponentially can happen in these mania markets. And,
what do you think? What do you got, brother? What do you want to wrap up with?
I just want to wrap up with what I learned, and maybe I can help someone not make the same mistakes, or learn through osmosis. But like you guys saying, define your risk as one thing. Know the difference between if you want to trade or you want to invest. Obviously, do your research, and also, as much as you want to know your risk, know where your trade is no longer valid. Also know where you're going to exit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Know where you're going to exit. Use the resistance. Take 70% of your profit and have a 30% bag. If you want to let it ride to the moon, let it go to the moon. But lock in those gains, and you don't have that money until it hits your account in your bank account. So remember that.
Oh, listen to this guy! What a great advice! 100 is. I have no words. So good job, dude. Keep it up. All right. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Thank you, Jonathan, man.
Quick story, Chad.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. Back
No.
OT...
Real slow.
Let me just draw this one out. Back in OTC days of 2014, there was a stock I was into. I had hundreds of thousands of shares, and I sold a bunch, and I made really good money on it. SPLI.
Yep.
And I sold like 70% of what I originally had, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hold this last little batch. I think it was like 70,000 shares at like 12 cents. It was worth maybe a few grand. I was like, I'm just gonna hold it no matter what. I don't care. I already made a really good profit. And like a couple weeks later, that 2 grand, it was worth like $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. And there was one half of me that was like, I can't believe I sold most of it at such a small price. If I'd held that, shit, this would be hundreds of thousands of dollars on paper. But there was a moment where that little chunk that I held was worth like 70 grand. I remember seeing it flashing on my screen, and I didn't sell it. And I was like, I just was in awe of what I had sold, but not really appreciating what I had kept and then the value of that. And I rode that 70 grand back down to like, I don't know, 20 grand or less, and finally sold it. But that's the thing. It's like you can talk about in your head these, next time I'll do this, and next time I'll sell at the very top, and blah, blah, blah. No one knew when the top was. There were reasons to have an idea. There were reasons to be more bearish than bullish, but it's not that easy. We tell ourselves to try and feel better about our mistakes, but these are mistakes that are mathematically almost impossible to really achieve. Don't beat yourself up because you didn't buy the nut bottom and sell the nut top. The question is, are you able and are you willing to learn from what you experienced and potentially prepare yourself better for the future at hand? A lot of people, I think, became day traders for a time and then realized this isn't going to work. This isn't as easy as I thought it would be. And those that want to stick it out, that want to, turn this from a hobby and potentially into a career, understand from you, Chads, that it's not going to happen overnight, that it takes dedication, commitment, and these are things that people, unfortunately, don't have a lot of, which is patience.
Thank you so much, brother. Great to have you. We're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. Why don't you go M22? What would you like to say? M22.
Hey, Big Chef. What up, man?
What up, brother?
Hey, good. Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
How about you pick one because it's getting late? What's your top question?
Okay, for someone who doesn't want to do day trading, who just want to invest couple of thousands and want to wait like 2-3 years. What is the project that you?
I don't know. Apple, maybe Google. What do you think, Jonas?
I mean, it's about the long term, and there are investments that pay you to hold that investment regardless of what the price of that investment actually is. So people, like, how did the rich stay rich? They own things that pay them to own those things. And sure, there are years where the value of those things goes down more than what they pay out, but over time you acquire more of those. That's why the operation of the dividend, being paid to basically own an asset, and then you kind of push that years out, can be such a tremendous wealth effect mechanism. And I think people that have basically been through these times, right? Stock market, big pullback, crypto market, big pullback. When there's blood in the streets, do you buy stocks? Well, that can be a yes, but sometimes it takes a while. If you bought the stock market in 1968, it took you to 1982 to kind of get back to some. I mean, it was years. We've been spoiled, I think, over the past 20 years. We've had tremendous crashes, and then we've had tremendous bull runs. Crashes and bull runs. And is it sustainable? Well, I don't know. Maybe this is just how it's gonna be. But don't think that what's happened this time, based on what's happened last time, will happen next time. Whoa.
All right, that's the wisdom of Big Jonas. Hold on, I'm messing with my phone here. I was trying to tweet something, and I'm trying to reconnect with the spaces. There we go. All right, sorry about that. All right, thank you so much. Charles, thank you for being patient. Charles, what would you like to say here, buddy?
Hey, I've been listening for a long time, and this is the first time I'm asking a question.
How you doing? How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Where you at in the world?
Bay Area, California.
Bay Area. Okay, cool. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. How's the weather out there?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, really nice hiking day.
Hiking? Did you been hiking much recently or no?
Yeah. Just got back. Yeah.
Oh,
it was
good stuff.
Fantastic out there.
Awesome.
So my original question was about Ethereum and Bitcoin, but the last comment about the market, about what happened before, and now we have like a new situation, like entering recession, I guess. And like what happens out the other side of that, like the inflation and the Fed and the liquidity, I think is maybe different, right? So I guess my question is, like, how do we know that? How do we know how to trade crypto going forward, and how do we know how to trade equities going forward? Like when the volatility and the liquidity matches something that we've seen before, is it safe to go back into like Ethereum or Bitcoin or even equities? Because like, I don't expect. I think like equities are going to suffer probably going forward for a while, right? So.
I'm so glad you stepped up. It's the right question. I want to hear what Jonas has to say as well, but you have to separate like what's unknown, which is like, how the market will respond to changes, in the macro and the Fed and all that, from what you can control. What you can control is your trade and you deciding to hit a button and to go long or go short based on what the chart does, based on the price. Like, if anything the Fed does is important, the price will break support, the price will break resistance. And I feel like I'm saying this a million times. I'll just probably keep saying it because it's easy to say. At the end of the day, your trade is based on what the price does, not what the Fed does. So just focus on the chart. Like, is it safe to do X, Y, and Z in Bitcoin? Wait for the price to tell you it's safe, because it's safe to go long because the price is back up above 25.5. The price is back up above 28K. Like, it's, broken some significant, lost support level. What do you think, Jonas? How would you address this topic?
I mean, Bitcoin has only existed within a NASDAQ bull market. Only. So we talk about
also a Harry Potter series as well.
It's true. It was, and frankly, the Game of Thrones was pre-Bitcoin through Bitcoin.
In fact,
2019 maybe not as much.
Well,
but
it depends.
still.
Like it's all about perspective. I lived, and Chad's lived through the 2018 and 19 market, and we talk about the bear market, right? But didn't Bitcoin also rip from 3K to 14K? And in that rip, I remember Litecoin went from $20 to $100. I think Ethereum went to, what was it, like $100 to $700 or $800. I mean, there was a bear market. There was a crash after Bitcoin hit 20K, and yet there was a tremendous bull market, relatively speaking, of 2019. And then in all of that, if you kind of
Wait, I thought
stretch it out,
2019 like it was just dead. Did I remember wrong?
well, no, I mean, Bitcoin bottomed at 3250 and then had this kind of ascending triangle that blasted off to 14K.
Okay,
And it
right,
was
right.
right. And then, alts followed for a time, and then Litecoin at 100 marked the top again. But what that created was, if you kind of stretch that out to like a weekly or a monthly chart, it was just this giant reaccumulation phase where the Bitcoin and crypto wasn't done yet. The problem now is you can look at, and Chad talked about this. He's a TA person. He's not much of an FA person, and there's a reason for that. It's about what the chart, what the price says. So all this FUD happening, FTX and yada yada, but FTX and all that stuff. I mean, it's translated in the price action. It's in the chart. But in the years to come, it's probably going to be a blip in. Remember that candle? Remember that weekly candle when that happened? But in the whole grand scheme of things, right? Bitcoin has achieved something incredible, and if you take a longer term view, the higher low is still intact, and the consolidation continues. So
Yeah,
it's about perspective
but
and about.
so let's say that we're entering kind of a bear market after things settle. You're saying you wouldn't look to put anything into Bitcoin until it hits
Hold on. Why?
a price.
Why you can't compare your finances to his? That's like the thing. What him? It's like hard. You know what I mean? You got to be really careful.
I will just real quick. I get the question, and it's a valid one. If you feel that the next year or two is going to be just this long slog consolidation, then why even trade it? And I kind of agree with that. But there's another way to say it: that am I trading for now, or am I trying to think about what is this going to be worth in 2025 and 2026? And am I making decisions now to prepare myself for then? And that's kind of where it comes down to trading. I'm supposed to trade to make money, to trade more, to make more money, to follow through in these investment decisions that I want to create. So we trade to invest. If I think Bitcoin will be $100,000 at some point in the future, then I want to trade to invest. I think short term, I make decisions short term to make my longer term perspective that much more important. And I think that's what people need to decide. Am I trading, am I gambling, or am I investing? And you can do all three. Just don't try and do one trade and make investment decisions and vice versa.
Thank you. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Have a good night tonight. So listen, guys, I mean, this is a hard market. I feel a lot of frustration and a lot of anxiety. And I just think just be patient. We're going to see pumps. We're going to see, there's news here and there's news here, and Bitcoin pumps and this coin pumps. And I mean, it's probably inevitable that Elon will announce something with Twitter and Dogecoin, and that's why it's kind of holding up, and wouldn't be surprised if whatever. Then that pump happens, and then it bleeds out and whatever. But there's fundamentals, and there's supply, and there's narrative. But in the end, it's about, all right, we've been down this road before. How many times can Elon tweet about Dogecoin and have it pump to a thing that's that will be sustainable. And I think that's what we're in. There's a lot of dead money. I've been saying this for months in altcoins. It has to get flushed out, and it
We're
should
getting there.
get
We're
flushed
getting
out
there,
back to
Chunks.
Bitcoin.
We're getting there. We're getting there, right?
I hope so.
Chris, what's up, buddy? What would you like to say? What would you like to say today? Thanks for stepping up, Chris.
Hey there. Hi. Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Fantastic. Well, thank you for having me on again. I have a quick question. Actually, this short question, or a little background and context. I've actually done quite well with crypto. Been in it since 2016, 2017. I'm a long-term buy and hold kind of a person, but this time I did something different. I managed to somehow sell near about the top. Not quite the top, but soon after. And then I squandered most of it away in NFTs and DAOs. So I'm back to ground level, starting out again. My question is, I've been traditionally a buy and hold, long-term holder, and I've survived multiple cycles. I understand macro quite well. This is not the climate to invest, possibly trade. My question really, Chad, is where and what exchange are you all using to short and leverage trade? Because the exchanges I'm using don't offer that.
It just depends on your jurisdiction, where you live. I mean, there's no like one answer. That's, you got to find out. You got to look at wherever you live based on what the regulations are. That's so location specific. So I don't have a good answer for you.
I live in the U.S. and in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
There's an exchange out of Montana that's excellent. I think it's
please. I think
cattlesteer.com.
VPN. Like if you're in the, you're probably gonna have to use a VPN, right? With the way the U.S. is set up, if you're gonna try to short stuff.
I kind of guessed that much. I get it. All right. I don't think we have many options.
What else? Any other questions while we're at it?
No, I'm doing a course, trying to learn trading. I think I got a good hang of it. I just need a place to be able to trade, the short side of it mostly.
I understand. You want to be able to go long and short. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for stepping up.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Real quick on that, Chad, if I can.
Nope, real long, short, real long. Stretch it out.
So it really says something that we're so far along in this crypto journey, and still, in the United States, where leverage seems to be such a big part of crypto, and yet is there a reputable, regulated leverage exchange available for U.S. citizens? Not really, and there's a reason for that, and that's because
FTX. What about FTX?
Right, FTX US, right? I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Oh no, they're separate. They're separate from FTT.
Yeah,
Did you see that? FTX is separate. It's like, what? How can it be separate?
And they have their emblems on the umpires of Major League Baseball. So I have faith in that, and it's America's pastime, and I feel safe to do it. So it's a great question, because it's after all this time, really, and yes, that's the answer. These exchanges that have offered, leverage trading, we know them. They're offshore. They can be accessed through VPNs. It's not a secret. It's not hush hush. There's a reason why VPNs exist, and for other reasons of security. But in that, there's always the risk, not just in the trading of the platform, but the fact that you are holding your wealth, your coins, theoretically, on someone else's website for an exchange. And if the shit hits the fan, there's really not a whole lot of recourse. And you got to ask that to the people that had their money on FTX and BlockFi and whatever else. So it's a very risky time, and that's really the point, is that in the end, like in the stock market, who makes out in the end? They said the people that have the best portfolios in the stock market are the ones that died and haven't touched their stocks in years, and they just allow the dividends to compound and rebuy, and they live through bear markets, and just their patience and the lack of buying and selling has created tremendous wealth portfolios. So, not your keys, not your coins. That's the thing. If you want to really be successful, those who actually want to feel that way have control of their assets. And it's unfortunate this far along. I don't have faith in Coinbase, to be quite honest. Like, I've used them for
You've
years,
been
and
listening
yet
to Peter Brand for too much.
they have a stipulation. Remember that, where if they go
Yep.
bankrupt, then
Not your
their
keys, not
funds
your
could
keys.
be part of. So these are real things that you have to think
Yeah.
about. It's unfortunate, and that really just
Yep.
goes to show why there's no Bitcoin NFT, but ETF and all these
ETF.
things. It's just not ready for prime time.
Well, what about GBTC? You know,
Yeah, I mean, hell, look at
what a
GBTC.
discount. What's going on there with the discount?
It's not just the valuation; it's what of it is locked up in this FTX
They
thing.
say it's not the pizza sauce, it's the oven. Is that what it
But
is?
GBTC was a vehicle. It was a on-ramp
Yeah,
for
it was an
people that
on-ramp.
could just, I want to be bullish Bitcoin. I can just buy this OTC stock,
Yeah,
right? I don't have to open up a Coinbase. I don't have to buy physical
exactly.
Bitcoin.
Gives you
And
risk.
it was a trade. It was a trade, and it could be a trade again. It could absolutely be a trade again, along with a bunch of other Bitcoin related tickers, right? Mara, Riot, others. But that's only in the context of a bullish market and a narrative that there's value here. And right now, the value is being tested big time.
Well, the value is also in you. That's at Big Chonas. He's on Twitter at Big Chonas. I am at Big Cheds. Check him out on YouTube at Chonas Trading. I'm Cheds Trading. Yada yada. Crypto Cleve, thanks for being patient, dude. Good to see you, man. What's going on? We're gonna finish this up after you last two. What's up, Cleve?
Yo, what's up, guys? No, I just kind of popped in. Was gonna try to just listen to what you guys were saying.
Nothing
you guys
good.
are
Nothing
rocking
good.
out on Spaces tonight. You guys been on here for a while, haven't you?
Oh, it's only been a few minutes. Something like 10, 15 minutes, right? Oh, time flies, you know, when you're having fun.
I feel like I saw you guys on here a few hours ago.
I think it's been like a couple.
Well, you guys been rocking out, so appreciate you guys hosting the space. Trying to think. I was gonna just kind of see where your all's head was on the stock side of things, because with everything going on with crypto, I just like picking other people's brains and getting input, and kind of shifting my focus, to be honest, to the stock side for now while this crypto stuff kind of blows over.
You follow equities closely, Jonas.
I'm kind of just watching more so of like ETFs with like SPYs, QQQs. There's a few individual names I'm watching, but nothing like crazy. But to me, I feel like, am I crazy for thinking that we fill this gap at like 405, 406 on SPY, or maybe come up a little bit higher and go to that like 410 area? Is that like an area of interest or like a trouble area that you guys might see? Or I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, CPI looked pretty good, and I don't see anything like economic wise on the calendar over the next week or so that's like a dramatic thing. But sorry to cut you off there.
No worries. No, I mean, it's a great question, because I feel the stock market, it's about the narrative of risk, right? Risk on, risk off. There's a lot of money still sloshing out there, even though the Fed's trying to tamp it down, reverse repos, raising the rates, just wealth drain from the valuation of housing and what have you. There's a lot of money out there, and something very interesting happened this week, and really it happened last week, but it kind of played into this week, is the notion of rotation. There has been some incredible rips in some Dow stocks over the past several weeks. And on Thursday and Friday, when we had such tremendous moves in the market, we'd seen a lot of those leaders actually be in the red. And what we're seeing, I feel, is now that the election is ending, I'm not going to say it's over, but it's ending, there's kind of this wrapping the year up mentality where I'm going to make the last few trades of the year and ride it out into 2023. So a lot of hedge fund managers, okay, it's rotation out of stocks that have been just killing it past few weeks. Caterpillar, McDonald's, some of the energy stocks, healthcare, and into a lot of the beat up ones. You've seen money flow into financials, into gold, into some of the metals and stuff like that. So a lot of times you see this rotation happening after major events like the stock market, like the election, and then just basically just to wrap up the year in the end of the fourth quarter. My bottom line, though, is that all that being said, that rotation being said, and just the overall money still out there on the sidelines and anxiously wanting to invest, the Fed is not the same Fed that we've experienced over the past several years. They're not going to be as accommodated as they've been. And as long as they continue to raise rates and to sell a lot of their assets on their books, this will continue to be a downward pressure on the economy and the
But
stock
isn't
market.
the rate of raise? Isn't the rate of Cleve was talking about kind of the lower CPI and maybe the lower rate of raise of increases? Isn't it kind of the signaling of the market of the Fed?
Well, yes and
So like
no. Like
right now,
a
isn't the market
0.75.
pricing in based off of that spike? Basically, it's kind of not saying risk on, but like they're at this point starting to really price in that probability of 50 basis points instead of anything else for that December hike.
Well,
Is
let's
kind of
just quickly talk about what 50 basis points means. 50 basis points is historically very high of a raise. So, yes, it's
it's
less
crazy.
than the 0.75s we've seen, 4 or 5 in a row, which is unprecedented, which really says the Fed was just way behind the curve and trying to play catch up. Yeah, it's good that 7.7 is less than 8.3 CPI, but it's fucking 7.7.
Still 7, dude.
It's
Yeah, it's crazy.
ridiculous.
It's
And
insane.
we've barely seen any budge in the unemployment numbers. And I don't feel the Fed can maintain any sense of legitimacy by slowing things down when, other than housing slowing down, which is true, and a lot of things deflating in price, commodities, cars, what have you, it really hasn't changed the overall wealth in a lot of the money that's out there. I just think 2023 is going to be the Fed potentially even increasing what it's trying to do, really, Jay Powell, to slow this economy down, to kind of pull inflation down. And I don't think that we are on track to do that yet. And I think the market is, personally, I don't even think the lows are in for the year. And that's kind of crazy to think about. We're only 60 days, less than 60 days left of this year with holidays and everything. And still, we could put in a lower low than where we are now. There's a reason that we can still hit that 410 gap and close that and put in that final, fifth wave if you're an Elliott or not. But let's not mistake ourselves that the Fed has been the driving negative force in this market, and I don't see any reason why it won't continue.
And then I'll just wrap up with these last two quick things. The first one is just going to be on the treasury buybacks, or the pulling that out, the 90 trillion or whatever, or no, I'm sorry, not 90 trillion, Jesus, the 90 billion a month that they ramped up from in June or in September for. Have you all, because I haven't been able to find it, have you all seen or heard anything on them continuing that starting in 2023, or is that supposed to end at the end of this year? And then the last thing was just Cheds, with your SPY on that double negative or that bearish OBV on SPY.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what is your invalidation on that? So I'll finish up on those two, and then I'll let you guys wrap up with Nick, who's up here as well.
I hate these intelligent questions. I have to sound intelligent.
Real quick, quantitative tightening will continue in 2023. The Fed
At the
has
same
9
pace
trillion.
of the
Yeah,
90
the Fed has
billion?
9 trillion on their books, and it's about doing all this without blowing anything up. And I still think there's enough money in the system for the Fed to keep, putting its foot on the neck of the economy without blowing anything up. I think you get a mortgage rate above 8%, and then I think you're starting to really flirt with a real just full stalling out of the housing market. Are people prepared to do a 30-year at 8% or 8.5? I don't know if we're there yet.
I'm on the East Coast, and I'm seeing for sale signs that have been hanging out for weeks now, and more just keep popping up, and the old ones don't go down. So I'm seeing it in my area, but obviously every area is different.
All right, so and it's great to have you guys. Good to see you again, Cleve. Thanks for showing us. like SPX daily, you got two lower lows and lower highs in the OBV. Like, what would resolve that? Like, what's the OBV? OBV is just like a running tally of buy volume versus sell volume indicator. And kind of, you listen to me, I kind of encourage you not to use indicators. Don't use RSI. You don't even really need OBV. But if you're going to use anything, OBV is really strong in terms of the confirming a trend, right? You have two higher highs in the price unconfirmed by the OBV. So like, what's going to resolve that? Like, just super duper massive green volume for a couple of candles would bring the OBV. I'm really tired. It's time for bed. But bring the OBV back up to match the price. Otherwise, the price, drops to like whatever, 3,800 or like 3,700. That would resolve it as well. It's one of two. You get like massive green volume to bring the OBV up, or the price will come down. One of those two things would have to happen to resolve the divergence. So,
perfect. Awesome.
all right,
well, I
dude.
appreciate it. Well, I appreciate you guys having me up. You guys rock out on this space, and you guys enjoy the rest of your night as well as the rest of your weekend. As always, pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man. Last one up. We're gonna do Nick. You're our last guest. What's up, Nick? I'm gonna go to bed after this. What's up, Nick? What's going on, dude? Nick Varsity. Your time to shine, Nick. What's up, bud? I'm gonna give it a 5 count, Nick. I'm giving you a 5 count, Nick, and then we're heading home. 5, 4, 3, 2. Nick, sorry, buddy. I'm Big Chads. My good buddy Big Chonas. Check him out on Twitter at Big Chonas, YouTube at Chonas Trading. Chonas, why don't you give us your rap, and I'll do mine afterwards.
My name is Jonas. I'm here to say that's a wrap.
I'm here to stay.
Listen, it's a very interesting time in Bitcoin. I think a lot of people are just in awe of what's happening. It's not surprising to me, but in the same context, it's just unbelievable that so many people of wealth and of what our society deems as
legitimate,
the esteemed, the true blue check marks of society, and a lot of them seem to have been either taken for grift or part of the grift itself.
If you can't trust Lindsay Lohan with an NFT recommendation, who can you trust?
And the notion of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. All this sounded, here's 9% APR on your Bitcoin, guaranteed. Banks, while banks were paying, 0.2 on cash. I mean, it sounded too good to be true. How is this possible? Well, it's possible if you steal your users' funds and then try and trade it with high leverage to keep the Ponzi going. I mean, the simplest answer was the true answer, that it was too good to be true. So I don't know where this all ends up. I don't know what the reckoning, when it ends, continues. If you believe in this technology, you can believe in the technology, but it doesn't mean that Bitcoin has to be worth 50,000 or 100,000 or 10,000. It's the cost of production. What does it cost to produce a Bitcoin? And a lot of that has to do with energy costs, mining costs, and that's still less than what the current price is. And then all this money in these altcoins projects, I say with quotes, what's their true value? Well, the market will find a way to suss that out, but all through that, there's opportunity as traders to trade that and try and make some money on that. So I appreciate you having me on, Cheds, and I wish everybody here all the best. I appreciate everybody's opening up and being part of the spaces. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you, Jonas. Thanks, buddy. Good to have you, and again, good to have you. And it's people opening up. We're just talking. It's my voice. We're just humans hanging out. We're in the same space. Nobody's better than anybody else. We're just talking, and I'm blessed to be able to hear from you and have these conversations. This is now number 21 in the series of my Twitter Spaces conversations. We've gone for probably 2.5 hours. It's time for bed. It is time for bed, but we're wrapping it up. I'm Big Cheds on Twitter. Find me on YouTube, Cheds Trading. Check out the masterclass webinar playlist. Check out the Twitter Spaces playlist. This is number 21. If you're listening to this now and it's days later and you've been hanging out with me in the chat room on YouTube on replay, thank you. So thanks for hanging out. I'm a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live. Bitcoin Live is the best team in the world that studies crypto, that studies Bitcoin. All right. I'm a founding analyst. I've been doing market reports for over 4 years. You got to check out the team. It's something I'm incredibly proud of. So if you want to kind of step it up and get real, check out Bitcoin Live. But in the meantime, check out all the tons of free stuff in my YouTube. Like my YouTube has like hundreds of hours of great videos. Please check it out. But anyway, as a minimum, please come back next time and just join the Spaces conversation. Thank you, folks. Really appreciate everybody hanging out. I will catch you on the dark side of the moon, all right? Have a good night, folks. Take care. Big Ched's out. Oh, there it is. What a great Spaces, 3.5 hours. That was one of those rare evening spaces. I usually do them during the afternoon. That was an evening one. It went on a little bit longer. We had some guest speakers. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really hope you have. This is part of that Twitter series, the Twitter Spaces playlist. So thank you for being part of it here in the chat room with me on the replay. Folks, I hope everybody is doing well, and I will talk to you soon.